Would you eat raw liver?
If you brought it right here and we did a little sashimi, I'd do it.
Raw liver.
Right now. Come on, man.
Oh, well, I don't have any
How about
raw
next
liver.
time?
Next time? Next time you come on this, I promise
we'll
you
put it
there'll
right
be a
here.
liver right here, and I'm not
Okay.
And we're
I'll
going to
eat
watch you eat it.
I'd try
Oh,
it.
we'll try it.
You try it?
Yeah, we'll try it.
This is about control, everybody knows, everyone complies. We're the kinds of pros, I don't need a plane, I just hit the road, I do what I want, I can't sell my soul, market about to crash, this is what you chose, ruining the country, I think that's the goal, you gon' take the mark, I take narrow roads, I'm a man of God, I can never fold.
All right. Welcome to the Protect Your Purpose podcast, where we talk whiskey, business, friends, family, and freedom. I'm your host, Matt Marchese, and this is my co-host. What was his name going to be again?
No, don't do that.
I forgot.
You always do.
Zach Grady. I forgot I had a name for you
We
yesterday.
can add fitness to today.
Oh, yes. We have a guest today, Kyle Kasperbauer. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Welcome to the show, man. We're happy to have you. Before we get started, I want to tell you a little bit about Kyle. Kyle Kasperbauer is a CrossFitter, to say the least. Would you safe to say you're a CrossFitter? Do you call yourself that?
I'd say do CrossFit.
There,
Kyle does
that's better.
CrossFit. Kyle is a decorated CrossFitter, does CrossFit. He also is a successful entrepreneur, a community and thought leader, owner at Kinesis CrossFit, where I go to do my fitnessing, a faithful Christian, a husband, a father, and a friend of mine. I was going to go through and talk about how you're a world's fittest man, and the list is very long from 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16, or 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21 qualifiers, and first place in the CrossFit Games, and 17 and 21 first and second place in the Open. Is that correct? The answer is yes.
Pretty close, yeah.
The answer is yes, right?
You got a couple in there, yes.
Holy crap, man. I
didn't realize you were that level of stud.
I didn't realize that
Damn.
either, of course.
I knew you competed, but
Yeah, as I went through
we're with CrossFit royalty today.
basically, do you consider yourself CrossFit royalty?
I've been around a while.
When did you start CrossFit?
February of 2009.
So 2009 you started, and by 2012 you were placing third
I imagine you
overall,
had a base.
Overall.
men's individual
Yep.
at the games.
Mm-hmm.
So 2009 to 2012. Tell me about it.
2009.
Well, actually, could you start with like your beginning of?
Yeah,
I
yeah, that's
imagine
probably
CrossFit wasn't the first time you had started working out, right? You're
Right.
probably like a wrestler in high school or something, or I don't know.
He was a footballer.
You're a footballer. You did the footballs. Yeah. What'd you do before that, and why CrossFit at that time?
Right.
And then 9 to 12. How'd you get to
Okay.
that level of competing?
Well, just real quick, I grew up on a farm, so right off the bat, it's just going to be that hard work mentality.
ethic, sure.
Yeah, just it's like, all right, well, something's got to get done this morning before we get to a school,
Right.
and it's not going to get done on its own, so you have to go
Hey,
out
Kyle,
there and get it done.
congratulations.
So it started all the way back then of just like not wanting, but working hard, having to get the job done because nobody else is there to do it type thing. And then from there, just doing sports, every sport that was available in high school. Wrestling was a big part of my upbringing. It was like a pivotal time in my life, with wrestling, but then transitioned into football as well. And then just using the mentors that I had from coaching and wrestling, coaching and football, and the hard work that was put into that, and the reward from that hard work that came, it was something that just grew inside of me and who I started to become. It was one of my foundational characteristics. And then from there, after college football, I was like, okay, I still want to be healthy, but I still want to, I still have a competitive edge a little bit. I don't know what to do with this. I'm just going to work out. And I had a friend call me up, and he was my teammate in college. And then he transitioned to strength and conditioning coach before I made that move. And he called me up and was like, hey, there's this new way of working out. It's really big over in the West Coast right now. And this is in 2009. And I'm like, okay, great.
So you're fresh out of college at this point?
Okay, so yes. So I'm 27.
So 20, okay.
I'm 27, so I've been out of college for a couple of years. So
Okay.
I've just been grinding. Just doing the
Hitting the
same
gym, lifting
workouts,
weights. Yeah.
working out by myself, running to the gym, doing little weird things on my own, which is just a dynamic warm up, and everybody else is looking at me weird in the gym. And I'm over in the corner where people are usually do yoga and their abs, and I'm warming up. And
Did you go to college for fitness, or what are your degree? What'd you go to school for?
yeah, so I've got a bachelor in exercise science.
Okay.
And then a master's in sports medicine athletic training.
So even after college, you knew this was the direction you were going.
To an extent, because it was going to be directed towards more of the physical therapy, rehabilitation, athletic training for injuries. And as soon as I started getting deeper into that industry, I started realizing that there wasn't a lot I could do for the nutrition or the health of the individual. I could just help them with their injury. I could just help them with their workman's comp or the geriatric that I'm helping them move a little bit more, but it's all through, or post-op surgery, all of those situations. But I couldn't help them as far as I wanted to with, writing up a workout for them or helping them improve
Preventative.
their heart,
Yeah.
So then I made that transition over into the fitness industry, and that was, let's see here. That was right around 2011 when, instead of dabbling into CrossFit, I decided to take the jump, make it more serious.
Hold on a second. In 2011,
Yeah.
you decided that you were going to go all in on CrossFit, and in 2012, you took third individual men's overall in the world.
Well, like
Yeah.
we said,
What
though,
kind
he
of
already
freak
had a
shit is
fucking
that
great base.
guy? Yeah.
So from 9 to 11, you were just kind of dabbling, like go to a class here and there?
I was
or were
doing
you-
the general population approach where,
Yeah.
and that's not to minimize how hard it is to get to the gym for these real people. These real people meaning they've got families, they've got their job, they grind in their job, they've got their boss on their neck all day long. They leave the gym. They don't want to go to the gym. They leave work. They don't want to go to the gym. That's the last thing they want to do. They want to go home, just relax, have a drink, go to bed, and start over again. Right? They've got all these things going on. But what I was doing, I didn't have kids, and I was just about to get married. But in 2009. Through 2011, I got married in 2010 to the most beautiful woman in the world, the best thing that's ever happened to me, Macy.
She's great. I could vouch.
Was me going to the gym, working out hard, and leaving, and then just doing whatever. Meaning whatever with my nutrition, still consistently drinking 2 to 3 times a week without control. Not getting completely drunk and being dangerous to society.
Sure.
But it wasn't the level to where if I wanted to take this to the next level, I had to stop all those things.
Of course.
Of just being lackadaisy with my nutrition, lackadaisy with my sleep, lackadaisy with my routine throughout the day, and start going from amateur to professional. And in 2009, I started in February, went to regionals, which is a qualifier for the games, got 4th. That was my first competition, and then went to the games, and I got 37th. Okay. And then in 2010, I was going in and out. I wasn't consistent with my training. I was strong from college football training, and I was powerful. So, and that's just from genetics, just being able to do that. But I wasn't committed yet, and I wasn't dedicated yet, and I wasn't consistent. So I was coming in hungover, working out. I was not stretching afterwards. I just wasn't taking it serious of what I was talking one, but I was walking a different way, right?
Right.
So it's like something doesn't match here. But so anyway, I got injured in the qualifier because I was strong enough to move the weight, but I wasn't consistent enough to move the weight well. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense.
So then I got injured, but then I was healed up enough to where I could jump onto team. Okay, so then the team that I was on, there was also team in CrossFit, and we got second. Actually, we got third, but the second place got DQ'd because they popped on a urine test.
Can't do that.
Can't cheat,
Can't
man.
do that.
Can't cheat.
PEDs.
Yeah, right.
What are they popping for?
Well, it was actually
Beaver
Like
tranquilizer.
God
damn it,
Liver King
Bernice.
shit? Liver King shit or what?
Oh my gosh.
15 cycles a day? What are they? Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Anyway, it was actually It was a pre-workout, and it was in a can, and
They're very
A
specific with
fucking
what
pre-workout?
you could like
Yeah.
not to like despair or give anybody a pass, but you could probably accidentally take some shit that would pop hot and not even really
you can
realize
accidentally
it.
take too much caffeine.
Right.
There's like a
So it's
Sudafed,
very-
No way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
CrossFit is that strict, which is awesome.
Not saying
It's
they weren't.
unbelievable.
But it's also super CrossFit as a whole, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm asking, not telling. It's a faith-based organization and a health-based organization in some aspects, isn't it?
No,
Or is that just yours?
that's just ours.
Ah, okay. Well, God bless your CrossFit, man.
Come on,
I love
man.
it. I love
Come
that.
on.
So dope.
Yeah, that's the beauty about CrossFit too is part of the affiliation fee. It's an affiliate.
Yep.
It's an affiliation model, so it's not a franchise.
Yep.
So you pay a certain fee to be able to use the name of CrossFit, take advantage of the marketing, but then also you can do whichever model you want. You can charge what you want. You can have monkeys hanging from a bar if you really want to. You can have motorcycles driving around. But it's also about they provide the methodology a little bit. They provide the model, and then like use it if you want to. You don't have to. It's more tools not rules type mentality.
Yeah,
but
love that.
So anyway, and then in 2011 went team again, just because I hadn't been taking it serious. My fitness wasn't where I needed to be. I did not qualify. It took a huge chip on my my pride.
Little humble
You know?
pie there.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'd walk in, I'd hit a PR, I'd break a few records at the gym, and then I'd leave. And then it was like, okay. But then in 2011, my wife Macy, we got married in 2010. She's like, hey, how much longer are you going to do this? Because the time that you're at the gym is time that you're away from me, and we're trying to build something
I
here.
know that's right.
And I was like, all right, I'm going all in. So then I got my level 1 certification, which is more along the lines of professional coaching track. Recommitted my entire schedule, cleaned everything up, and then boom, 2012, after a lot of hard work and
You're a
some
beast.
adversity, it turned out pretty well.
I'd say so.
Yeah, and then from there,
Was 2012 individual at that point, or was that still team?
that's open 2012.
Okay.
Open men's. So
That's awesome.
yeah, that was to this day. That's the oldest podium. So I was 32. I was
That's
30.
the oldest podium
I was-
to date.
Yes,
Old man.
old man coming in. And
Killing it.
You were
okay,
32 in 2012. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So
Which means he's 40.
Did
I get
snap, Let's
I'm
go.
just saying, 1, 2, 3.
I feel good.
I just know
42.
Kyle.
But
I
it
just
was-
know Kyle's my age.
But the first place, he was, I believe, 25 or 26.
Kicking these young man's asses all over this CrossFit
Love it.
floor.
Second place, who I have large amount of respect for, Matt Chan. He was 33 or 34, and he'd been in the game a couple years before me, and then I was 32. And then ever since then, it has not even come close.
Really?
Young man's game.
Yes,
young
for
man's
sure, for sure. I mean, you think professional football.
Right.
Yeah.
It's 3 years there,
Your
and
body,
they're all
it's-
22,
it's certain-
23,
yeah,
24.
you can't hammer your body that long.
You can do anything you want,
Yeah.
you know, and you don't have to sleep as much. And, well, that's what it was in the past. Now it's different because people are taking it more serious with their routine, their dedication, their sleep, their nutrition, their hydration.
So I want to talk about that before we talk about your routine, because I'm interested. And I'm sure your routine and all those things you just mentioned is sort of what you attribute your success to. But before we go into that, you know, this is a purpose-based podcast. We believe that purpose equals freedom, freedom equals purpose. I know you're a freedom guy, you're a patriot, and a badass American across the board on the example you set. But what I want to know and what I want the audience to know is what is your purpose? What do you consider as your purpose in this life?
I think that goes back to my identity or why I'm here. Right?
Yeah, tell us about it.
I mean, for one, it simply goes back to the three questions that I make sure that I can answer every single day, and it has a lot to do with what I surround myself with, the content that I absorb, the people that I'm around, my circle, my daily purpose, right? And then how my wife and I have come together and how we raise our family. And basically, it's who am I, why am I here, and where am I going? You know, and it's primarily based around my faith, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. But who am I? I'm a child of God, and I'm saved, right? Why am I here? I'm here to spread the love of God, to spread the word of God, and to help grow the kingdom. And then where am I going? Well, he did all the work. He suffered, he died for our sins, not for his sins. He lived a perfect life. He came back from the dead, showing that he was our Lord and Savior. And so I am going to heaven. I am saved. So if I can live by that every single day and have that be the filter for what I take in and my mission on a daily basis, I'm good to go. And then from there is just leaning in on the gifts that he's presented to me, to whether I can take advantage of those or not, because there's the whole question of, well, Matt, how did you get here? It's like, how did you get here? Not only on this planet, but in this house, in this sweet studio with these great dudes.
Yeah.
How did you get where you're at with this whiskey business, and how you're just leaning into the truth and the Constitution and the passion, and now into your health more than you've done in the past in such a long, like, how did you get here? And it's like two things, and it's of course the sovereignty of God is one, but even more so is his gift to you of free will, of you to put your foot down, assess, and then move forward and lean in on that. Because it's like, if there was Matt that did this and then Matt that did that, it's like the advantage of taking advantage of that free will. Free will, brother.
Yeah. And taking advantage of that, God and the universe putting us in places when we most need them. It's up to us to recognize when that happened. A quick story on, which has to do with you and your gym. So during, I started coming to the gym, 2 years now.
Yeah.
But it had to have been,
wow,
mid COVID craze. And I remember not wanting to go to the gym. Me personally, when I work out, I don't want to work out with anybody. I don't like it. I just would rather do my own thing. And I'd rather have someone driving me and pushing me, but I never really liked the group setting. So the reason why I didn't want to go to a CrossFit gym was because I didn't want to work out in a group setting. And when I came to your gym, I could feel your purpose. I could feel your mission of doing the Lord's work and through way of health and fitness and motivation for people. And a conversation that we had early on was, I didn't want to come here. I explained that to you. I didn't want to come because of all the people. I'm sort of an introverted extrovert, as you've probably heard me say. I didn't want to be there. And the reason why I wanted to come back was ended up being the reason why I didn't want to come in the first place, which was the people. You've built an awesome community. And while we were sitting there at your gym talking about it, you were like, plus normal people, bro. And I was like, oh my God, that's it. In a world of crazy COVID where nobody was normal, dude, I can walk into your gym and just feel the presence of normal. The presence of God is what I feel, my people. When I walk in, I feel safe. I feel normal. I don't feel all that crazy bullshit. I mean, as we all can attest and surely remember like it was yesterday, walking into a place where everyone had masks covering their face and people were looking down. All we had is random eye contact, no emotion. It stripped God out of everything. And you've done a really great job of creating a community based on normal.
Dude, I love the fact that at one point you're like, you know what? Bump on that with working out with people.
Yeah.
And now it's like, that's what I crave the most.
Yeah, it's those people. Yeah, it's really cool. Zach was.
I was about to die Matt out for just not wanting accountability, but then he said he would like somebody pushing him, so he saved himself there. But he just wants to skate by with as low as possible.
I need accountability.
Yeah,
I think at some level, all people need accountability. It's just
No,
what drives your accountability.
Yeah, 100%.
Can you drive it yourself? Is it your own mental state? I can tell you this, and since it was probably 2016, 17-ish is when I really started to realize that that our freedom was under attack at some level. And then, of course, the rollout of COVID kind of really put a big old spotlight under a magnifying glass on all of that. But I can use my internal fear, we'll call it, of our freedom being attacked as a driving force for me as some level of accountability. The worse shit gets, the harder I go. The worse the economy gets, the harder I go with my investments. The worse, it's the same in health. The worse people get, they then go, oh shit. You know, it usually takes a heart attack for somebody to say, I got to go to the gym. But for me, understanding that probably in about 2019, I started to really realize it, that the ultimate rebellion for the system, fitness and health is a part of that. So when I was able to go into the gym and realize there was a whole bunch of other people who understood that concept, like, hey, we've got to get healthy for the sake of our freedom, for the sake of the rest of our life living free, it gives me some accountability. But I need somebody to drive. I need a coach. Most do.
Oh, yeah.
You have a mentor?
Yes. So the idea is that that might change in every season.
Sure.
But I try to focus on in each season trying to have a mentor, and then someone that I'm walking with, or a few people that I'm walking through a path with, and then one that I'm mentoring, a protege, like just a little bit. Each season might reflect a little bit, and that might change each season.
Yeah.
And that might rotate a little bit, but yeah.
One person. Okay. To be clear,
hold on.
You're mentoring.
Everybody needs a coach.
Everybody needs a coach.
Everybody. Tom Brady needs a coach.
Everybody
the
needs
GOAT.
a coach.
Everybody needs a coach, no matter
right.
what, to some extent.
I definitely want to drive that piece home, because a lot of people think that you're just saying that because you are a coach. And
I need a coach.
Yeah.
Whether it's a business coach, whether it's a parent coach, like in a way, my wife is my coach.
Sure.
And
Same.
I coach her in a certain extent too. But it's the fact that we all need a coach to some degree. Otherwise, we're just going to be just sitting in the pond, just laying there, wayside.
That's
or
right.
are we gonna do some work? We're gonna get better. We're gonna work on growth. But yeah, and obviously I see the fruits of having a coach with accountability, keeping an eye on technique. When we're talking exercise or fitness, someone to challenge you to do something that you wouldn't do on your own. Is the thing that person, that coach, is going to ask you to do as well, of course. And being the fact that I am a coach myself, I see that value, so I'm drinking that Kool-Aid. I want you to experience that, not just to come over to the coach side team, but just so you can experience the fruit of that, to see that, to feel that, because fitness is freedom.
Yeah.
It allows you can do whatever you want to do at any point in time to a certain extent, because it's like, okay, hey, you want to go to Pikes Peak? Let's go tomorrow. No, yeah. I can't. I'm not ready. I got to train for it first. No, you got to be ready so you don't have to get ready.
That's right.
Right? For anything.
Funny you mention the coaching aspect. So you're a coach. You're a professional coach. You're obviously an entrepreneur. You own the business. But I recognized this not long ago. I was actually talking to Bree at the gym. It dawned on me that you guys are professional coaches. You're obviously professional CrossFitters. Several of the people are professional, fitnessers of some sort on your staff. And that's why I said that. Well, they do fitness for a living. They're professional fitness people. What I realized, because
fitnessers.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
the official term, I think.
Professional exercisers. It then dawned on me, because I'm going into the business coaching world, where I can help people do what I feel are my natural God-given strengths that I naturally excel at. But then, of course, you hit a roadblock. You need mentors. You need coaches. So I had some people a couple years ago, people start asking me to mentor them and help them. And I'm like, ugh, you don't want me as a mentor. I'm a bad guy to do that. And the more I took on, the more I can help, friends and other associates in the business world, the more I realized I really like doing that. And then it dawned on me one day that that's what you guys do. How did I not make that correlation? You're doing the exact same thing, just on what you're passionate about, what you're good at. And I say that to say this. Not everyone has that path that they want, that they're naturally good at. and you have to supplement. And a way to supplement is with a coach, which is why your business model is so great for people, for accountability and for leadership and to push them to the max. I don't really need someone to push me to the max in the business world because I just naturally do that. Probably much like you naturally do that. But at some point, you're going to plateau. At some point, you're going to hit a ceiling, and you're going to need a mentor. You're going to need a coach to help you break through that. What would you say to anyone in the coaching world as advice on how to either get started or how to maintain coaching? Because that's what you do and do it well.
Well, I think getting started, a lot of times they think they're ill-equipped, right? So if that is their number one concern, then go get equipped.
Sure.
Whether it's lack of education, well, if you want to be a coach and you are having the enemy continually discourage you by saying you're not qualified, you're not good enough, you can't do this, you're not ready, not yet. Maybe in the future, but just not yet. Maybe tomorrow, where everyone's hopes and dreams go and die on an island,
of course,
is the world of tomorrows. I'll do it tomorrow.
Sure.
I would recommend to just take the leap and just get started.
Just go.
Just go. Take
Today.
the leap. Today.
Go.
Do something to get the ball rolling today.
Love that.
On that person, the individual that wants to get going in coaching. But then also, as you get going, you must educate. You must educate yourself. And there's so many sources out there to where you can just begin. But if you're going to just start coaching, and let's just say in my industry, I'll stay in my lane a little bit.
Sure.
With the fitness industry, you can start, but if you don't start and then have some sort of education and then keep learning that education, you're gonna get washed up in this industry. You're gonna you're not gonna get people the results that they want, or 2, you're gonna hurt some people, and then 3, after that, you're gonna lose that reputation. Okay, you're gonna as that goes on. So it's like, okay, how effective is the program? How effective is your coaching? Where is your education at? And then continuing to just push the needle on that, move the needle on your education. Now with the coach, what was the first part of that? Because you asked,
what would you say to someone who's getting started?
Okay.
And to maintain. So how to get started.
Maintain. So on the maintaining is, again, it really goes along the same line. Just never stop wanting to learn. Challenging yourself, putting yourself in uncomfortable situations, having a fellow coach review you, or just continue peer-on-peer feedback. There's, in my industry, you can be good at one side and not the other, whether it's group training or one-on-one, or even in small group, but then also in a certain field, whether it's barbell weightlifting, with the Olympic lifting like snatch, clean and jerk, or in the gymnastics industry or field, or in the aerobic conditioning, aerobic capacity. Oh, there's so many different little pieces to the pie in CrossFit specifically, because I've been in this industry a long time, and that's the fitness industry, the health, wellness, and fitness industry, and been exposed to many different fields in the fitness industry. And when I started seeing serious results for my clients, it was through utilizing the combination of everything, and doing it not in a random manner, but in a variety. Sure. An organized, progressive variety. And for someone that doesn't have that eye for it, they're just gonna be like, well, that's random. Let's just throw some stuff together and we'll figure it out. Where if we can build while also staying in the most variety possible, then if you have high variety, just like when you wake up every day and it's different every day, you walk outside, it's different every day. The drive something's different every single day. Well, your fitness should be the same way. And if we can continue to keep the body progressing while a little bit of guessing, you're going to see that maximum level of adaptation to the program. But then also, you can't just easily go through the program lackadaisy, like within workouts. Any workout that you do, whether it's running, swimming, biking, weightlifting, Olympic lifting, CrossFit, if you're not working hard or challenging yourself to the position of being near your current capacity. Meaning, I know I can run a 6-minute mile. If I'm training and running near that 6-minute mile more often, you're going to see those results. But you have to change things up within your run. You can't just run a mile every single day, because then the adaptation to that program is going to lessen and lessen.
Sure.
So what I'm trying to say with this is making sure that whatever program you're doing, every single day is different. But then with CrossFit, we focus on constantly varied functional movement at high intensity. And the constantly varied is that organized random.
Sure.
Okay. The functional movement are going to be the movements that are most relatable to real world
Everyday life.
We're trying to train the college football player to be able to explode out of a 3-point stance with either a squat or a deadlift or plyometric training, while also training the grandma to be able to pick up his kids at night.
Which is so awesome, by the way.
Right.
Side note, as a part of your community, you've got people from all ages,
5 to 80,
all races, all genders, all 172 genders work out at Kinesis CrossFit.
Oh my gosh.
You've got kitty cats, and no, I'm kidding. One of our favorite parts, my wife specifically, she's a sap and a softie.
She's a stud too, by the way.
She's a very capable.
She's a closet badass.
Yeah, she's very capable. And underestimates her capacity that you were just mentioning. She's someone that without someone pushing her, she will never realize her full limits. And her limits are bonkers. Like she's so strong naturally and good at so many things. Anyhow, the best part is your, what do you call RTP class?
Return to play.
Return to play, which is
RTP.
for, you describe the RTP.
Yeah, so it's a program designed to where, one, if you stepped away from the exercise program for a certain number of years, we've got this middle ground to where you can just step right back in and we can appropriately bring you back in. It's also designed for the elderly that doesn't need to go shabam on a workout, just crazy hard. They are being properly instructed and coached, and there's still strength training, because it will never be a disadvantage to be strong for anybody ever. That's always an advantage. So we're trying to hold that strength as long as possible. And then it's also for anyone that may have got recently injured through a car accident or falling off the roof, or just got done post-op surgery and they don't know what to do, but they're like, I don't want to lose all this fitness because of one limb that's going to affect my entire body. I want to keep moving. How do I do that? Well, they come into this class, and it hits all those special population needs of the individual.
And to watch these people, all of them coming back from injury, coming back from pregnancy, or just getting started, people who are having physical problems, elderly, overweight, people who really struggle with those, to go in and watch those people doing things that they had never been able to do before or hadn't been able to do in years is really inspirational. It's awesome. Probably, I would assume one of the most rewarding parts of yours, because you get to see so much development early on.
Oh, it's insane. It's crazy.
Yeah,
we love seeing the progress of someone walking in.
Yeah.
And then just chipping through all the movements and successfully not only conquering a movement, but this also transitions into life conquering. And that's where you walk into a business meeting and you're like, there's no way I'm going to be able to lock this down. How in the world am I going to close this? I'm not ready for this. Well, doing something that you didn't know you were going to do, or that you couldn't successfully do, or you thought you weren't going to do, or you knew you couldn't do it, but then you successfully do it. You overcome that, and then it just makes you that much stronger for the next time something harder comes at you. And in my faith, that's just God strengthening you for the next thing, man.
Sure.
That's just building your confidence and ensuring in you, confirming in you that you're a force. Each individual, they've got so much power inside of them. And I see that every single day. Like, Matt, when I saw you walk in, we can talk fitness or not, but there was a presence. And it's like, man, if he only knew what he's about to tap into, it's going to get wild and it's going to be fun, because I'm going to sit on a front row seat and just watch it and just witness. And that's kind of what we get to see a little bit when Grandma Lou comes walking in with a walker. And then she removes that walker after 6 months, and then she's walking without a walker, and now she's doing box squats, body weight, and all of a sudden she starts laughing and having a good time. It's like, what? Come on now. That's what fires me up.
Dude. And the another plug for your business, and it's New Year's. I want to talk about that too, but this conversation and that example, those examples that we just gave or you just gave, are the example that many people need to hear, especially going into the new year when everyone's getting their mind right, getting ready for their changes that will only last probably a month. Hopefully we can encourage some people to, number one, go if they weren't going to go, and two, stick with it. We talked about it last episode, actually, like just making a New Year's resolution, understanding that falling off is a part of it. You and I spoke a long time ago. You told me, you train all year long. After the games, I think you said you go into a couple week break, and it's you experience. I mean, at the highest level of your profession in fitness, you experience the same thing that I experience as some dude who's, falls off the wagon and gets back on. I think as a New Year's resolution, we need to make a commitment to, no matter if we fall off, getting back on immediately. As soon as you realize you fell off, get right back on. Go the next day. Go that day, like you just mentioned.
Yeah.
But also, you mentioned that whatever that training program was, the RTP.
Ready to party is what they call it.
Ready to party.
They
do.
They do.
They
call it
do.
ready
It's
to
weird.
party.
They'll go to First Watch in the morning after the class
That's
and
awesome.
party.
That's
They're
so
having
cool.
mimosas or something.
But I think too many people, like for New Year's resolutions, for example, like change too many things at once. Like I'm gonna quit sugar. I'm gonna work out 5 times a day. I'm not gonna drink soda. And then you like a week in, you're discouraged. And like if you would throw those people into like a normal class, they may not make it through. As far as they have in the RTP program. So I think also like baby stepping it for some of these people, because they jump too far in, and that's why when they fall off and they're like, well, this
it's hard
sucks.
to sustain.
Hard to sustain. So do little things at a time to, like you said, every day, just continue to get better and better.
It's the same thing in business and investments. People want to be wealthy, but I mean, except for Kyle, who is a freak. No, I think I gave you a little more credit maybe than you were even due. I didn't realize from 11 to 12 you had been at this. I wasn't taking that into consideration, that you were an athlete and in the gym.
Right.
You had a pretty good head start on things.
He had a solid
You didn't
base.
go from 11 to 12 winning the games, but anyhow.
Right.
Fit to fat, or
it's
fat
a-
to fit.
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah. It's the same thing in the business world. People want it. They want it now. They want to do a 90-day program and boom, expect it to happen. And it's consistency over a long time. And what I want to ask you is, what's your routine? What do you do for consistency? I mean, you've been at the top of your game, and you're at the top of, from what I understand, the top of your industry, or amongst the top in your industry in the business world. What's your routine? How do you keep that? I mean, I know how to keep it for what I'm good at. But what do you attribute your success to as far as a routine and staying accountable to that?
Man, I got to say, it's almost like you put down non-negotiables, right? And it's also about why you're doing what you're doing. Like if you have a routine to open up a business and be a business mentor and start a podcast, you're going to start setting up non-negotiables on a daily basis.
Sure.
Because you have a purpose. You have a reason for what you're doing. For what was that? Since 2009, so what is that, 12 years from now?
Sure.
13?
Yeah.
Carry the 2 and
Divide by one.
13.
Something like that.
7. Yes.
All right, so from 2009 to 2011, I didn't have much of a routine, but then from 11 to 21, I dang near ate the same breakfast every single morning, worked out at the same time. And a season changed because then I went from working for someone to working for myself, but the goal didn't change, so the routine didn't change. So then what I had was, I had a purpose, I had a reason, and I had non-negotiables that if it just doesn't make sense that if I wanted to do this, but I'm not doing these things, then this isn't going to happen. So what am I doing over here? What's the point? It's like, okay, so, on a daily basis from 2011 to 2013, it was wake up earlier than I've ever woke up to that point in my life, go straight to the gym.
Are you talking like 4 a.m., 3 a.m.,
No,
5 a.m., 6 a.m.? Nothing crazy?
Nothing crazy,
Okay.
like 5:45.
Sure, 5 or 6.
Because
Got
I
it.
had to drive to the gym 40 minutes. And I drove past many gyms to get to the gym I wanted to go to get the results I wanted to see by the coaches I wanted to work with.
Got it.
And trusted one of my very good friends, even up to this day. I've known him since I was 18, Joe Westerlin. And he was my coach early on. He's the one that invited me, but it was wake up, have a very small amount of fruit, meat, and fat in one handful. Then I'd go train for an hour, and then I'd have a big breakfast after that, drive to work, and then work out halfway through work, just a quick little something. Then after work, go back to the gym, train for another hour and a half, and then go home. We had my daughter in that routine. So I had to make sure if I wanted to lean into my pursuit, that I had this rock solid wife.
Sure.
You know, she's stronger than any person I've ever known in my life. She's my rock. And she was able to hold the foundation at the home while I was off pursuing this crazy, insane thing of a dream and try to be the fittest in the world, not just in the state or in the nation. Then all of a sudden I went from working for someone to then opening up Kinesis in 2015. So then the goal was still the same, but the routine changed. So again, waking up, same breakfast, same drive, same time working or coaching a class, then same time working out. And then every single day for another 8 years, nothing changed. So in those off seasons after the games, it was like I would release and I would let go of that routine and just breathe for a quick second. And then it was that much harder to get back into it because it was such a regiment. There was like non-negotiables all over the place. I've surrounded myself with those. So now, being recently retired.
Yeah. Congrats, by the way.
It's a little different. You know, I'm trying to find a new routine to where it's like, well, I'm purposely stepping away from pursuing that dream of my own to now being more of a father, more of a husband, more of a business owner, and leaning in a little bit more in those other areas that were pushed off on the side of the curb.
Has your routine changed that much since you retired, or not really?
It's been up and down, man.
You don't look like you've changed your routine much.
I'm gonna be transparent because I respect you, and you're a good dude, and I have a good feeling about your friends here. So
yeah, they're great. I only surround myself with good people that put off that same kind of energy that the people in your gym put off, by the way. And if
that's awesome.
If they do not put off that energy very quickly.
Don't hang out very often.
No, I can't. Mm-hmm. It's gotten to the point where I need
you can't afford dead weight.
I can't, dude. It brings me down. Mm-hmm. It steals from me.
Yeah.
It like when I say it steals from me, it takes my time, obviously. It takes my energy, oftentimes my money, but it truly takes away like from my soul where I can feel it. And I have to tell my wife, like, I can't, if you're listening right now, it's probably not why I don't hang out with you. I'm just super busy. It's not you, I promise. Everyone else. No, it's just like certain people give off fantastic energy and I feed from it. And the other, like the extremes and the highs and lows are so crazy for me that I just have to go to places.
Iron, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess
and it's not a personal attack on them. It's just the fact that you don't mesh
different goals.
It's time to get some work done.
That's right. I just have something else to do.
Yeah.
That's it. So anyway, I'm sorry I interrupted. You're going to be honest and transparent because my friends are awesome.
It's been a tough season, man, because I've been trying to find a routine. I've been trying to find my balance, because my identity is no longer in this.
Right.
In this pursuit. Yeah. I mean, it's just a matter of how to figure out how to I was an elite athlete in a fitness world, not in football, not in wrestling, not in baseball. In baseball, wrestling, and football and sports, you can just kind of stop playing that. And then you work on yourself, you work on your injuries, you get really healthy, and then you try to get those biomarkers done, cholesterol, fasting blood glucose, LDLs, testosterone levels, all those levels, you start doing the right level of exercise to support that for longevity, right? Well, I was the fittest I'd ever been for 10 years straight. My numbers were immaculate. I was sleeping like a zombie. Zombies don't sleep. I was sleeping like a caveman.
Baby, a well-slept
yes.
baby.
Yes.
A
yes,
caveman.
very
A bear.
well nourished,
None of my
well
babies,
fed
but,
baby.
Yeah.
None of my babies. Yeah, mine either. Anyway.
Anyway,
so
so-
I hear they exist. So
I feel great. Energy all day long.
Sure.
Crushing workouts, feeling unbelievable. Just out of this world,
10 years,
right?
killing it.
Just crushing it. So now it's a matter of, well, I'm going to step away from something that made me really, 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 really healthy because I was training all day long, right? And doing the right things, because it's not just about weightlifting or about doing something too much. It's about having that balance in your regime, in your regiment throughout the day to have a successful career in fitness and then win. So I figured it out. Now it's about backing off of something that made me really, really, really healthy, but finding out where to back it off. So I'm in my own little research committee here, trying to figure that out. And I think I've got it pretty close, but it's also about waking up and getting into the routine of the first thing I do is get the daily word in. And then from there, start moving and start talking about all the, the cold bath or the shower.
Yeah,
or the
I want to
sauna
talk
and
about that too.
all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's also the other side to make sure that if I can sleep at night knowing that I gave everything I had that day and making sure that it answers those 3 questions, being the father that I wanted to be, being the mentor that I wanted to be, being the coach I wanted to be, making sure that I'm serving my wife the best that I can,
Sure.
honoring God the best that I can, leaning in the areas that I need to lean in because I'm not leaning in this other area anymore. It's been a fun season because it's been challenging.
Sure.
So I'm excited about that.
So it's been fun, but it's been challenging. When you say you're going to be open and transparent, I assume you meant admitting that it's been hard.
For sure. It's
What
been tough.
Emotionally,
Yes.
not physically. Or, I mean, assuming you're going from the top of your game again, physically, surely there were some challenges. Which were harder? I mean, the emotional challenges of
like
leaving
just hanging
that,
it up.
No.
hanging it up.
No,
or
I was
just the,
Because
I
I would
was
imagine,
ready.
I would imagine though, owning the gym that you own, you probably still can lean back on the fact that people rely on you.
tons
Like
of
I have to be at the top of my game still because there's this group of people that expect me to be in a way. But am I wrong in thinking that? It's obviously a different level than competing in the CrossFit Games because that's a whole different world in itself. But
Yeah.
I would imagine that would still give you some sort of drive and motivation to still show up every day and be that guy.
That helps out a lot. But one of the dichotomy of being around having a solid training crew, because I didn't do this by myself, man.
right.
I was able to be blessed enough to surround myself with warriors as training partners.
Yeah, sure.
And the problem is the second that anybody takes it easy, they're going to get beat. And beat, I mean, in my own training, and we do workouts together, and we try to bury the other person.
Yep.
We try to
that.
embarrass them. We love on them. We challenge each other. We call each other out. It's real stuff. We build on each other. We support each other, but we try to bury each other. And I'm taking a step back from winning most of the time.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that kept my head out of the clouds was getting beat every once in a while, getting reminded, hey, you still got work to do, bro.
Yeah.
Don't you think for a second you got to figure it out? Now I'm taking a step back and I'm taking all those hits that I was given for all those years.
Oh, yeah.
And it's such a it's a humble piece of pie given every single day. And that's the other part that I love about working out with someone, whether it's CrossFit or something else, but specifically CrossFit, is because then it's a humble pie every day. It reminds you still got work to do. There's still work to be done, and we're all in process.
Yep. Amen.
So,
Dude,
so
it's
I've
the
been getting,
same.
I've been getting beat a lot.
You probably haven't heard me say, but I use
Let's go.
fitness all the time as a example, or I draw a correlation between all of these other aspects of life and fitness, because it's such the ultimate example where you can see exact, like, measurable results from longevity and from the dedication. And as Zach says all the time, the little steps consistently over a long period of time. But you're bringing kind of a new element of this which I can draw a correlation to fitness again, which is interesting, that being the humble pie aspect of thing and getting beat and the competitive side of things, it's exactly the same in all other aspects of life when you're trying to achieve. I think the common denominator is high achievers or people that desire to be a high achiever. Along with that comes a good deal of humility that's required. You have to be able to recognize that humble pie. You have to have that competitive nature. Assess yourself, measure yourself against somebody else. And instead of using it as jealousy and deflating you, use it as jealousy and encouragement to try and drive you to the next level. And interestingly enough, I think what I'm hearing you say is a little bit of probably depression that comes with that. And I'm not calling you depressed or anything, but you can speak on it. I know that when I dial back, so I moved into the whiskey business, and when I did that, I watched my Serve Pro business not fall off. We just grew at like a reasonable growth rate for that year, like 20% or something for that year. And the target across our industry is 15% annually to grow. And we grew for 1 year over the last 7 years at a rate of about 20%. And it was when I pivoted my energy and my effort. And dude, that brought a level of what I felt was almost defeat to everyone else, or to most other people. They would see that as a success. But to me, it was like, oh my God, these other people that we were growing at this 50 and 100% rates with year over year, they're still growing at that. And I have now paused. And of course, I only did that 1 year, and then I was like, fuck that, I'm getting back into this. But yeah, probably a similar feeling.
Drove you nuts, didn't it?
Yeah. Oh, dude, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to not be growing at, maybe not the number one, but I mean, close, elite. I want to grow faster than everybody else.
And you knew you weren't leaning in.
It was my fault.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
So that's the part that drove you nuts the most.
Depression? You fight any depression issues?
Not, I wouldn't say depression. And I've got a pretty clear understanding of what you mean by that too. My wife, she's specializes in the industry of psychiatry.
Yeah, that's right.
So I have experienced depression one time, and that was after a shoulder surgery that I had from an old football injury. And it was 4 days after where I just went and just wallowed down to something. And she after like day 4 or 5, and I'm not trying to compare myself to anybody that's dealing with this it's a very serious matter, and a lot of people deal with it, and it's very real. And have been dealing with it for many, many years. But for me, I started to be in this hole mentally for like 4 or 5 days after surgery, realizing that I was going to miss out on a year of something that meant so much to me.
Right.
And my wife, Macy, she literally like walked over to me, looked me straight in the eye, and she's like, get out of the house, go to the backyard. I don't care if you walk in a circle outside, go do something in the lawn, go do something in the garage, get out of the house. I don't care. I can see us a mile away. And she basically just kicked me out of the house. And
smart.
But recently, it hasn't been about depression. It's been more about reflection and renegotiating what I'm going to put all this. I mean, because I can feel it in you guys, and I know that I've got it. There's people out there, there's listeners that could probably relate to this as well. And it's just the fact that you've got this fire, and this fire inside of you, inside of your chest. And if you're not utilizing that or putting that effort or just putting that fire and that power towards something, it's going to start eating you up. It's going to start burning up inside versus burning out. And if we don't use that, and if you don't use that to continue to propel forward in life, always moving forward, never falling back. As a running back, my coach said, never fall back ever. Always fall forward. I don't care how big the guy is. I'm dealing with 300-pound linemen. Never fall back. So in life, we're always moving forward. We're always going forward. We're always working forward. And there might be a season of chill or relax or just contentment for a second, reassess and get back to work. Well, that was what's kind of happening is I'm trying to figure out where to harness that fire.
Yeah.
that hunger, that power, and been doing some praying and seeking things out and reflecting, and been really investigating things. So it's been fun and challenging, and fun and challenging is always my favorite because that means it's hard.
Yeah.
But I've got a family and a couple of kids that are coming up, and I can see myself in them. So it's good to put that energy towards them, towards the business, towards my faith, and just kind of recalibrating everything. And I think everybody should do that. At a certain,
Of course.
every season there needs to be some sort of recalibration. It's like, okay, I leaned in towards that. That looks good. Let's compile on that. Let's either double down or reconfigure and move forward. We can't just sit here. And I think that you get that 100%.
Yeah, because it's you. It's what we describe. It's you. You have identified your purposes. You just named them: your faith, your family, your fitness, your health. You now serve those and continuously serve those, which moves into the protecting of the purpose, kind of as I lay it out.
Yes.
And this is what I try and tell my friends who are going through this. Of course, we suffer from those feelings. Call them whatever you want: depression, exhaustion, fear, anxiety, whatever you want to call them.
Regret.
All of it. The solution to that problem is relentlessly serving those purposes. It clears your head. It gives you purpose. And that's where we say that purpose is that mental freedom, man. You know,
And if it doesn't drive you or give you those, then it's probably the wrong purpose. Like you may need
That
to
ain't your
reevaluate
purpose.
your entire
Yeah.
purpose. You know what I mean?
you're serving the wrong thing.
Right.
You're exhausting your energy in places that
You're not passionate about.
probably doesn't need to be. Yeah,
Right.
move that. And if you're trying to do what I do, which is what a lot of people that I mentor and that I talk to, specifically my employees, my team, and a couple of my actual mentees, I think where the root of these problems is they don't know in their heart what they're supposed to do. Instead, they're looking at what other people do and go, well, I want those outcomes, so that must be what I need to do.
Right.
And it inevitably they end up serving someone else's purpose, which is going to be empty. But really finding it and driving it home, which is obviously what you do. It's probably why you're so strong mentally, and the discipline so
Well,
natural for you.
I wouldn't say natural. I would say I've been put in positions to where I've had to do a lot of things I didn't want to do, like hard things.
Sure.
You
Hard
know,
shit.
Whether it was doing chores, working on the farm early on, didn't want to do that, man. Nobody wants to. I chose to wrestle. If you want to toughen your kids up, put them out for wrestling.
Hell yeah.
At any level. I did not like wrestling, and I won a lot. But if you're not winning somewhere, you're gonna hate it even more and eventually quit.
Right.
And that's any sport too, but wrestling specifically. So that wasn't fun, but I did it.
Yeah, dude, individual sport. It's all on you.
Yeah, right.
There's a whole different element to wrestling.
Dude, wrestling's
Right.
serious. Yeah.
Well, you have someone putting their hands on you and then trying to control you, and you're trying to control them or resist them, and it's like, and it gets hard, and then
In front of people.
yeah.
Embarrassing. You know how many
Yeah.
little kids cry?
But that's what built. That's what it is, man.
Yep. We go to these little, when my kids were wrestling, we would watch my wife, of course, the softy sap that she is. She would feel so bad for these kids and feel like they were being put like through torture. And I'm going, no, babe. What's happening to that kid is they're releasing they're like breaking through ceilings. Like they're getting to the next level of their life where they get to feel and express emotion, feel defeat. You see kids win and cry.
Yeah.
Same shit, different emotion, but they just broke through something. And I agree. Wrestling for a young kid, I don't know that there's any better.
Hey, can you tell my wife
Sport.
that? Trying to get.
I can tell her.
Trying to
Yeah.
get my 4-year-old.
Let me tell her now. Text her.
Give
or
her,
what?
give her a call.
All right, let's pivot this.
She's worried. She's worried about the wrestling piece as you get older. Controlling your weight and those types of things.
Well,
Oh, they actually. Can I speak on that?
yeah,
yeah, why not?
sure.
They've put up a ton of sanctions,
Like to
against,
change that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
to prevent
against that.
kids from cutting weight and hurting
Yeah,
themselves.
100%. Because I mean, that's when I was at the end of my wrestling and high school career. They started making those moves to where And there's ways you can get around everything if you're going to go to an
course.
extreme, but they'll test out a certain level of body fat percentage at the beginning of the season and then your weight, and they'll watch that and then prevent you from losing too much.
Oh, really?
Good, yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Because I remember in lunch, like at lunch, man, there'd be the wrestlers just sitting
Oh, yeah, it
there
was awful.
staring at everybody.
Spitting in a bottle,
Yes.
trying to cut water.
Did that.
Getting rid of every
Yeah.
water,
Awful.
ounce of water in their body.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah, our wrestling team took up dipping.
Yeah.
Just so they can produce more
Spit more.
and spit
Yeah.
more. I'm like, you guys are twist. I wrestled only 1 year, my senior year, and I refused to cut weight. I'm like, no way. I'll just wrestle.
I'll be the heavyweight.
Yeah, whatever. I wrestled 171. I did okay for.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, for a young,
First year.
not first year non wrestler as a senior.
Yes.
My friends were like, you have to join the wrestling team. So I lettered and I did my thing. It was great. I was kind of natural good at it. Had I had the discipline early on, but I didn't want to, man. I wanted to like drink and go to the rope swing, and after school I wanted to go do shit.
What
so.
made you do that then?
All my friends were wrestlers.
Okay. That's what it is.
Yeah, and I was like I said,
pressure.
I was pretty decent at it for somebody who wasn't a wrestler.
Yeah.
So I quickly made a spot on the team and was able to wrestle. But I don't know. I thought it was cool. I just thought it was something I wanted to do my
He
senior
wanted
year.
to wear the singlet.
No, worst part, dude. I felt like such a fairy wearing that shit. I got over it quickly. Dude, it was a good growth
Yeah.
lesson for me over that year to get my ass kicked because I was wrestling way better wrestlers most of the time. But again, the individual sport, tears, emotions, it helps a kid grow for sure. I would recommend it for anyone. Any individual sport like that. But wrestling is so physical, like you said. Somebody's putting their hands on you. You're putting your hands on them. You're trying to dominate. You're trying to control that person while they have an exact opposite but equal interest in controlling you. Dude, those lessons will take you.
I mainly
For
want it
life.
for my son because he's like aggressive in general, and I think obviously it's not about winning or losing when you're 4 or 5,
Fuck
6
that.
years
Yes,
old.
it
you know.
is.
It is, but who cares if they do or don't? I
Right.
just want him to get energy out, like and
Yeah.
freaking tries tackling me all the time. I'm like, man, get him. He could do a 2-legged takedown like nothing right now, and he's never even been a wrestler. You know,
Go find you a kid to wrestle before I hurt you, child.
One question I had for you is supplements. One, is there any you take or recommend daily, or is it all just witchcraft and big sups are trying to get you to spend money on garbage? Because my wife was recently talking about like diet and fat pills and things like that. But I'm more interested in like, do you take protein shakes? Do you take creatine? Do you take BCAAs, EAAs? You know, there's 1,000 different things you could take. Is there any you do daily or any you would recommend daily? And which ones are total bullshit?
Right. Well, I have always been someone who leans on nutrition as much as possible.
Right.
And I mean, that's going to be, that's the foundation of the CrossFit pyramid is first we need to focus on our nutrition. If I'm trying to break a record, if I'm trying to train, or if I'm trying to lose weight or gain strength or improve flexibility or sleep better or feel better or decrease my blood markers, all that exercise is going to be blunted, the effects of that exercise by the fact that a lack of nutrition,
Right.
where it's like you can't really out-train the kitchen. You just can't. But you can't nutrition yourself to fitness either. So it's like it works together. But on top of that pyramid, so past the nutrition and then goes into general workouts, so general training. And then after that is powerlifting, Olympic lifting, so barbell movements. And after that is gymnastics. And then at the very top is sports specific. And then at the very top of that is supplements.
Dude, so supplements are way the hell down on the line.
Way, way, way down there. However, there are a few supplements that I do recommend taking that we aren't really getting enough from the food provided that we do eat, even if we try really hard.
Like protein's tough for a lot of people.
You know, protein is one of those, it's like the primary macronutrient that is deficient in our country. We do not
Really?
eat enough protein.
Yeah, 100%.
And we're a weakening population.
Which is awful and terrifying right now, given our current state of the union, to have a weakening population. Dude, don't get me started.
And one of the ways
Yeah,
that
stay
you
on the
can-
fitness path, man.
This is
one of the ways that you can accelerate the weakening is by removing protein sources that are from animals. So if you start making
fucking
plant-based proteins, you're going to accelerate that weakening even more, because that is not protein, that is not food, that is not good for you.
Do you think they're doing that intentionally?
100%.
Why do you think they're doing that intentionally?
Matt, stop.
More control.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to jump on any specific wagon of any sort, but I will say there is value to the 9 essential amino acids found in
Animal protein.
animal protein.
He jumped right into it. He got you where you want to go.
So and with plant-based proteins, it is designed to, one, make money and weaken. It's just make money. They can't make they can't make all that money
Because it sounds healthier.
on the animal
it sounds
proteins.
better.
Yes.
Dude, so we do, which maybe you've heard on the show, we talk about kind of a process, an IDS process. I use it in my business. I use it in my marriage. I use it with my family. I use it with my friends. They can't stand it. But we do an IDS. IDS, identify, discuss, and solve. Where I say most people get stuck is the discussion part in the D.
Sure.
It's the broadest, like quickly identify an issue and then discussing it. A bitch session, if you will. A lot of people
Where's
love
the solution?
Dude, we got to move to solution. But for the discussion phase here, we've identified a problem. The problem is somebody is putting out this crap that is weakening us. It isn't providing us what we need.
Big food,
Right.
government,
Big food, big government,
big pharma.
big pharma, all of the people who want us weak. So we can discuss that a little bit.
Why do they want us weak?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Why do they want us weak?
Because they want to make money off of us. The sicker we are, the weaker we are, the more money they make.
That's right. They're creating customers.
More pharma, more drugs, more pharmaceutical. Not there is not one pharmaceutical drug out there. And now, correct me if I'm wrong. And I'm not a doctor.
Sure.
I'm in the fitness industry, but I'm also in the health and wellness and fitness industry. I believe that every single pharmaceutical drug has some sort of side effect.
I think that is correct.
Now, going back real quick to the supplements, I want to finish this because this is important, especially being in the Midwest. There's a lot of vitamin D deficiency out there.
Vitamin D. Shit. Yeah. Glad you got back to that.
Vitamin D deficiency. So there is a enormous amount of benefit to just being outside, even in the sun, just for your own cognitive just well-being. It just brings you a light
sunshine.
more.
Yes.
It helps you sleep at night. Now the level of vitamin D during the winter, the sun is at a different angle.
harder.
It's a little bit different, right? But there's still value in being outside in the sun. But then a vitamin D supplement of some sort supported by a combination with K2. So vitamin D and K2.
What's K2?
K2 is just basically it's going to help vitamin D bind and be absorbed.
Yeah, these can be bought at Target.
And these can be. All right. This is you're
Next level shit. Here we go.
You're opening up a can of worms, but it's very important that we cover this.
I think there's a lot of value there for sure.
Not every vitamin and supplement are created the same, and they are not regulated by the FDA.
None.
So none, but they are thinking about it for more money, more control. But on the other side, it needs to be regulated because there have been issues by even local supplement companies have been caught
Just selling placebo.
Yes, they've said that there's this amount of protein in it and this amount of sugars, and then a third party goes and tests them, and then it's actually the opposite, where it's like, man, this protein tastes like Honey Nut Cheerios.
Yeah. Yum.
Well, because there's
no
about
shit.
80 grams of sugar in each serving, and there's 5 grams of protein, and you wonder why you're not getting results. So there's also been found.
So if your protein tastes good, it's probably not protein. Is that what you're saying?
No, not necessarily. But really what you're wanting to do is you want to do your research. You want to focus on third-party testing of supplementation. You want to make sure that it has some sort of reputable backing. And there are a number of really good supplements out there, but I would recommend a vitamin D that's combined with a K2 as number one, basically a power 5. Number 2 would be an omega-3 fatty acid, and that's more like whether it's a fish oil or if it's a krill oil. And ideally, in best case scenario, again, I'm not a doctor. This is not doctor's recommendations.
Right.
I'm in the health and wellness and fitness industry. So this is supplementation recommendations. You might want to focus on a liquid form more than a pill form, just because sometimes that might, the fish oil might be stored for a very long time and become rancid. However, any omega-3 is better than no omega-3. And it's tough getting that from local fish sources because of the local fish farms, right? You want to more focus on maybe wild caught. Again, I don't want to deter anybody's efforts on trying to get fish or omega-3s. Any fish is better than no fish. However, if you want to go best, you go wild caught, you source out somewhere like Alaska and you ship it in. It's very simple. It's very easy. You just go onto a site, you order from there, they ship it to you. It's not very much money at all. It's very reasonable at least, and you get what you pay for. Okay, so we have vitamin D K2, right? As that one. Omega-3 fatty acid is number 2. Protein, some sort of animal-based protein. If you're not getting it through your meat, you should be getting it through either animal-based protein, whether it's a red meat, a white meat, so pork or chicken, or that fish. That's a good source.
So you don't do the protein powder.
You can, but you can get it through protein powder if you're having an issue with getting that through animal protein in your own nutrition. Protein powder, okay. And when we say, well, how do I select a healthy protein? One is go straight to the ingredients list. Okay. If it's a paragraph of 20 to 30 ingredients of things that you cannot pronounce, and there's dextrose, there's sucralose, there's maltodextrin, and then a whole bunch of things. There's blue dye number 9, red dye.
If there's a color and a number, steer clear.
Yep. So you're going to want to look at that. Be smart. You want to be an educated consumer. Okay. And then number 4 is going to be a magnesium. A magnesium is going to help you with your, it could help with your sleep. It could help with your digestion. It could help with your muscle cramping. A lot of times people might have restless legs. It'll help with that as well. And then, so that's vitamin D, K2, omega-3, protein.
Get enough protein one way or another.
Get enough protein.
Do you recommend for 1 pound per 1 gram per pound of body weight, or what is your general recommendation?
That's a good fair. That's very generalized, but that's a fair goal
for male and female, or females a little lower. Okay.
Yeah.
Same size.
Yep.
Okay.
But again, I just say, you know what? Do the best you can to try to get in with each meal. Yeah. Well, how much? I don't know. Right now,
whatever you eat, you're going to eat more than you are eating now, probably.
Whatever you do, just think about just a little bit at each meal. Yeah. And then once you start being consistent with that for 2 weeks, come back to me.
Dial it in. That's what Nissa, when I first started, I don't want to, we got to get to the fit, but when I first started nutrition with Nissa, of course we go in and we're like, all right, we're going to blow everything up and we're going to this perfect scale, which of course was a recipe for failure. And she was
hitting
like,
my macros 100%.
How about we just start with identifying what it is you're actually eating now? Let's start there, and then we'll start making changes. But that was a big part of it, is going from zero knowledge, all but zero knowledge of nutrition, what to eat, to everyone trying to achieve this perfect. Just eat protein is what you're saying. Just eat
every
fish,
meal.
Chicken,
some protein.
pork, or beef.
Just eat it, man.
Just eat animal-based protein.
Oh, eggs. Eggs are God's gift to earth, man.
Bro, I'm nervous about eggs, bro. I'm nervous about I'll explain that.
Talk to me about that.
All right, so I find it hard. Dude, they're growing chickens at lightning speed in Nebraska. I forget what it is.
You got to get organic, man.
Buddy of mine was a part of the general contracting for a big old chicken farm in Nebraska. And basically he said they're engineering these chickens. They're growing them at like 40 times their natural growth speed. Something crazy. And I'm going, and that's what's producing the eggs? How
It's got to be fucking
in
up the
God's name are those eggs coming out of those chickens not producing cancer-causing,
Right.
human-killing, weakening substances? Like I'm just scared of the eggs, bro. Chicken is the most consumed food on earth. That is increasing. They're increasing the production, increasing population. All of these things are happening, and they're tracking at like the same rate as these, lifetime terminal, long-term illness. And I'm going, dude, is it the chicken? Look, speculation. Obviously, I'm not.
Okay,
I don't know.
Let's jump in on that real quick.
Hold on. Before we go to the chicken, what's the fifth one? We've got
Well, it's
vitamin D,
so
K2.
vitamin D, and then that's going to be coupled with K2. So that would be
5 total.
Oh, that's your 5. Okay.
yeah.
Got it. All right, go ahead.
so
Chicken, tell me about it.
So with your comment on, holy cow, there's some genetically created chickens,
Yeah.
and concerned about the product that it's producing, right? The eggs.
That's my concern.
Well, just check your source. So what I'm saying is support local.
Local farms.
That's always a big thing. One, they need our support. They're producing
point.
some of the best quality produce, the best quality meat, the best quality eggs, the best quality milk, butter, sour cream, all those things. If we can just find a way to find your local farmer, find your local butcher, find your local chicken, and support them. And just and that could be also the same thing with the fish, the omega-3s, is finding somewhere local that's out of state. Local meaning small,
local,
yes,
wherever they are local.
Someone that's putting their hands in it a little bit and doing the work themselves. I'm always supportive of that. Being from the farmland myself, and just really understanding the work that's put in to produce what they're doing, because they care. Their living depends on it. Their livelihood. They're going out and they're with their hands and their sweat and their blood and their sleep, and they're going to bed sore and smelly sometimes.
Right.
Man, they're out there and they're producing some of the best meat.
The best
meat out there,
Yeah.
the best eggs, because those chickens are real chickens. They're out, they're free range. They're basically out there eating insects on a daily basis, and they just go back in. They're peaceful. They're not shoved in this cage for the rest of their life, which is awful, which is terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I always just recommend support local, know
That's
your
smart.
source, ask them questions. Anytime you walk up to a local
market.
butcher or even a farmer's market, you ask them and they'll answer. You have any questions, they'll answer. So what kind of cow is this one? Well, this.
Yeah.
So.
I think that's a good, and here in Nebraska and in the heartland of the country,
all over.
dude, it's so easy for us to find a local farmer to get local ingredients and local food. We can do it. Obviously, fish being in the center of the country is a different story, but I'm from Florida. It's super easy. You go to any restaurant,
market there,
any restaurant on the coast. They're like, wild. What was brought in today? And they, just local fishermen bring them, and they literally go out, fish, catch shit. It's hit or miss what they're going to bring. They bring it and sell it to the stores or the restaurants. They have no clue what they're getting. And then the cooks are like, well, today we've got halibut.
Tuna's
Or
on the menu.
Today we've got whatever they've got. It's super dope. It's very easy in the coastal regions to get fresh fish. Mm-hmm. But like you said, local there, I mean, you can get a fresh caught fish frozen once and sent here.
Yeah.
And it's not as fresh as coming literally directly out of the ocean to
But
the
that's
grill.
best case scenario for a Midwest state.
But for us, dude, that's what we got to do. We have the benefit and the lucky aspect of
Farmers.
all of the other farm stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So
best
pretty
steak
cool.
in the country, man.
yeah, I agree. My wife's family owns a meat locker. What's up, Ian?
Real quick before we get off supplements, because I think this is a good question that adds value. So probably the thing that's either consumed as much as protein or more is pre-workout. Do you use pre-workout? Do you not believe in it? What are your thoughts on pre-workout?
Is your pre-workout that handful of fats and
don't
what you were
fucking
saying
Liver
earlier?
King us either. Don't come on the podcast talking all this trash.
The Liver King says, "Why
Oh my
eat
gosh.
vegetables? Why eat vegetables when you can eat testicles?"
That's right.
Gosh, I love a good liver, man.
Do you?
I've got bison heart.
Would you
saved
eat
in-
raw liver?
If you brought it right here and we did a little sashimi, I'd do it
Raw liver.
right now. Come on, man.
Oh, well, I don't have any
How about
raw
next
liver.
time?
Next
Next
time?
time?
Next time you come
Next
on this,
time,
I
we'll
promise
put
you
it
there'll
right
be a
here.
liver right here, and I'm not eating
Okay.
And we're
I'll
gonna
eat
watch you eat it.
I'd try
Oh,
it.
we'll try it.
You try it?
Yeah, we'll try it.
Well, if you figure sashimi or like sushi, you
Yeah.
just cut it just very thin and just right down the throat, baby.
Oh, bro, disgusting.
Come on. Anyway,
Hey,
so-
you got to
Pre-workout.
do things you don't want to do to
No,
get
you
results.
don't. No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
No, you don't. You don't have to eat raw liver. No such animal.
Have you tried it?
No.
Okay.
Maybe that's why I don't
Yeah,
have
maybe.
the results. No, I don't have the results because I don't have the discipline to go to the damn gym. I'm just kidding. I go to the gym, just not as often as I need to. But I'm getting back
crushing
on
it.
the program.
Yeah, man.
And Matt doesn't eat testicles.
I refuse to eat testicles. You eat testicles?
I've went to a Mount Oyster Festival before.
Yeah, the Rocky
Yeah.
Mountain. You eat those?
I don't know if I ever have. I don't think so.
You?
I wouldn't
Rocky
be
Mountain
against
oysters?
it. I'll try it.
Cow balls?
I'd try them, but I never have.
I've tried them.
Probably chewy.
I'm not eating raw
It's-
balls, though.
It's a little chewy. They
I
were
imagine like a
fried.
gizzard.
Fried.
Yeah, it was like gizzard.
Yeah.
Gizzardy. Yeah, it's a little more bally. It's a little more nuts.
A little more nutty.
Anyway, what's the answer on the what's the answer on the pre-workout? Yes or no?
Cup of coffee, black coffee.
Okay, so I don't drink coffee,
Okay, that's out.
but organic black coffee, something that's a very small amount, so it doesn't avoid a very high and then a quick low. I don't recommend probably 95% of the traditional pre-workouts that are known by general population. I think a great pre-workout is a little bit of sea salt in water.
Sea salt and water as a pre-workout?
Yep.
What the hell does that do?
Sodium.
Dude, it sets you up. It hydrates you. Yes, the electrolytes. There's a great product, and I'm not sponsored by them, but I take them often. And it's Element, and they're
Yep.
electrolytes.
Yep.
It's fantastic. It's got.
They actually taste pretty good too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It tastes fantastic.
Tastes like salt water.
And it's not
But with
just
flavor- flavored salt water.
It's got magnesium and potassium in there too, and then there's flavors like lime or lemon or
Not a
raspberry or
sponsor
watermelon.
yet.
Right. But anyway,
Element, if you're listening.
well, I'm retired. So.
There's nobody's
touche,
sponsoring,
touche.
but we are not
We are.
retired.
We
so
are not
we will be
retired.
sponsored by Element. Send us your money.
So anyway, I would say Element is one of my favorite things because it brings you electrolytes. It holds in that water.
You drink that before?
I can drink that before and during.
Okay.
For sure. There are branched chain amino acids out there to where as long as I just say steer clear as much as you can from anything that has quite a bit of ingredients that you can't pronounce. So there are some good branched chain amino acids out there with minimal ingredients, but you have to again be a educated consumer. Look to see what you're putting in your body. You're responsible for that, and I want you to get the best results that you can with the work that you're putting in versus trying to
whiskey.
out supplement. And again, there's a little bit of benefit to some moderate intake of alcohol, but
Absolutely.
Anyway,
Moderate.
yeah,
I'm just kidding. Moderate. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're always moderate.
yeah.
Very moderate.
But yeah, so I would say avoid most traditional pre-workouts.
It's good advice. I've always said there's I've got to so my wife
go.
was big on this pre-workout. What's the active ingredient in pre-workout?
Niacin.
No.
Methamphetamine.
Oh, beta-alanine.
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 So beta-alanine.
Methamphetamine, he said.
So basically like legal meth.
Beta-alanine. Yeah.
Beta
temporary
Alanine,
meth.
alanine.
There's short-term meth.
Beta is actually not bad.
So check this out.
Beta can be used, and there's been successful studies that show good positive results.
My wife buys this pre-workout shit, and I'm like, stop bringing that
Your
crap into our
fucking skin
house.
is itching.
Quit. Yeah, it makes your skin
Yeah.
crawl, right? So she buys this pre-workout, and then wherever she bought it, the supplement shop, they gave her like this additional little bottle of this make your skin itchy stuff called beta alanine to kind of as like a extra pre-workout. So it comes with this.
That should be actually the only, like I used to just take beta alanine by itself.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Not
So-
the whole pre-workout.
Yeah, so she's got the pre-workout and the beta alanine. It comes with this tiny little spoon, so you can.
So you're adding more to the pre-workout.
Adding more to the
because
pre-workout.
it probably has it in it.
It does already, and if it's not enough, you just add just a little scoop of this.
Okay.
My daughter,
Oh no!
bro,
Took a sip.
took a sip. No, she couldn't have been 2. In the cabinet where Lindy has this bullshit stored, Cora gets into it. Next thing you know, we walk over. Like, she used to play in the pantry. It was like a fun game. I'm going to take everything out of the pantry and we'll put it all back in. It was like her entertainment. Well, open the beta alanine, eats it, and of course, I'm losing my shit. I walk over. She's got like powder on her face. I'm going, my God.
Looks like Scarface.
She's going to die. The Scarface, yes. This tiny little body just ingested this shit that makes me go bonkers.
Oh, no.
So long story short, we, of course, take her to the ER. Right to the ER, because I'm like, her little heart's going to stop. And, dude, they could not. We brought the little bottle. They called poison control. They couldn't figure out what
It was bullshit, wasn't it?
Dude, they were like, oh, yeah, she could have eaten the whole thing. It wouldn't have made any difference.
It was nothing. This was literally just powder.
It's nothing. They were like, well, no, beta alanine's fine. Your body produces a small amount of it, whatever they said. And they were basically like, I mean,
You sure it wasn't creatine?
positive.
Okay.
Positive.
What's your take
And
on that? We'll get there.
Anyway,
Creatine's good, right?
the end story of that is you can consume as much beta alanine as you want, and nobody gives a single
2 to 102.
You could be literally 18 months old. You can eat a whole jug of it, and according to poison control, the hospital, and her behavior,
They're like, why are you here?
she might be itchy for a little while. Yeah, that's what they did. They sent us on our way. I'm going, holy shit, man. So, little life lesson there. You can take as much of that as you want.
I want to jump back in. We talked about creatine real quick.
Yeah, what do you think?
I would recommend creatine for most people.
What? Start off with like 10 grams and then down to 5, or what?
No, I think people have done the loading phase in the past, and they've just been found that you can just start off right off the bat 5 grams a day.
So you
Really?
take 5 grams a day, so
Yep.
one time.
Yep.
Gotcha.
And you just want to. It can be a basic
Monohydrate.
clean, clear
Monohydrate.
Yep.
Creatine is allowed in the CrossFit world?
Yeah. So creatine started coming on site around 1985 to 1987, right around, somewhere in the 80s.
Mark McGuire.
And
He was not on creatine.
yeah.
Isn't that what he said he was on, though?
No. Yes,
It
he
might have
did.
been what he
did
said he
say-
was on.
Claim, yeah.
did
He was
say-
like,
he
no, only
claimed-
creatine.
I'm
Yeah.
taking creatine,
And
guys.
everyone was like,
Was it
dude,
like
Mark
Andrew-
McGuire takes creatine.
Taking creatine.
I think it was like Andro or
Everybody
something like
started taking creatine.
Yeah.
His was like anabolic creatine or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anabol. What was he taking?
I don't even
Fucking testosterone.
know. No, more worse than that.
Was it?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, mountain oysters, great.
Yes.
He was eating liver and
So creatine is good.
Okay, so
yeah, 100%.
creatine is fantastic. It's actually one of the most studied supplements
Yeah.
of all supplements.
For sure.
They just cannot find a reason to ban it, but they cannot find a reason why not to take it. So supporting studies have found that it helps with not only holding fat-free mass, so your muscle, but then also recovery from exercise, positive adaptation to exercise, whether that's energy or muscle regeneration, because every time you work out, if it's with strength training or weightlifting, you're doing small micro tears within the muscle tissue. And then and it depends on you and your nutrition and your sleep and your recovery to allow that to rebuild, support the rebuilding of that tissue. Well, as that happens, the size will increase, or you will start to learn how to burn fat more efficiently within your body and your energy systems. But then also creatine specifically aids in that, because we do produce some creatine within our body as well, and that also can come from red meat. Okay, so I would also highly recommend creatine.
It's also cheap as hell.
It's very cheap,
Yeah.
Really?
and they've studied it and studied it and studied it over and over and over.
I've got such a problem with supplements in general. I'm glad you brought that up, I think. I have such a problem with it
Because you think it's bullshit.
because I think it's bullshit
Yeah.
mostly. You
That's
know?
why I
And it's-
asked what's bullshit and what's not.
Yeah, and
Because there is a lot.
hearing it from our fitness, I mean, there was a time a while back. It was probably 2020, late 2020, maybe 21, but I think it was 2020 where Lindy made a comment to me, and it was one of the most impactful comments at that time for me as like an eye opener. But she was like, at this point, I trust my CrossFit coaches more than I trust my doctor. And I was like, two things just went through my mind. Number one, what kind of fucking world are we living in?
Right.
That we cannot trust our doctors. And also the power of a true health and wellness coach in a world where health and wellness is clearly under attack. We've got to lean into these things. So we mentioned earlier on that everybody needs a coach, like me included, on so many things, but health and wellness is something that you've got. I mean, you said it, you can do your own research, you can do all this, but it's hard to find this real information.
Yep.
Information is so watered down. Skepticism is so high. You can't trust anyone. You said earlier, I'm not a doctor. Well, thankfully you're not a doctor because
Yeah, we probably wouldn't believe
we
it.
wouldn't have, yeah, because then I'd be more skeptical.
Right.
Because I mean, shit, the world where we're living in, we go into, the vaccine. Now we're getting shadow banned.
You had to say
There
the
goes
V-word.
the V word. This episode will not go anywhere. No, in the military, like I brought this, by the way.
Yeah.
It says on
Congratulations. by the way.
here, better yet, I can read it. It fits perfectly.
Let's do it.
It says, you have been allowed or authorized, and provided an opportunity to consult with a medical professional to discuss the vaccine and any concerns that you had about being vaccinated. Subsequently, your unit commander lawfully ordered you to receive a COVID-19 vaccination, blah, blah, blah. Okay. This is a memorandum. It's called a General Officer Memorandum of Reprimand. Basically, what this is a general, the highest level of reprimand you can get in the armed forces for your permanent file. It doesn't go anywhere. You can appeal it and get it, but if you fail the appeal, it's in your record forever. It's a career crusher. In this letter, which is total bullshit, by the way, sorry, General, whatever your name is, who wrote this, what they said is, you have been provided an opportunity to consult with a medical professional to discuss this. Mind you, the medical professional that I went to discuss this
Worked on Air Force Base.
recommended I not be vaccinated. They then told me that was not an approved medical professional. A fucking medical doctor, a doctor, an MD. That is not an approved medical professional.
Wow. I didn't
And then
know
they
this
make me
story.
go to their medical professional, which has a script that it follows. And then they punish me, reprimand me, and say, and point to the bullshit that they made me go through. Dude, this is the medical world.
Yep.
And this isn't happening in the health and wellness and the fitness and the holistic professions. So when you say I'm not a doctor, and when we're talking about this, like part of the reason, I mean, of course, your badass resume and your accomplishments are why I wanted to bring you on the show. But this is one of the major reasons I wanted to bring you on the show is because at one point, until this day, we literally trust you and Nissa and Bree and Ben and your staff in many cases with our health and wellness more than we trust the medical field anymore, dude. And it's scary and it's terrifying. And I would encourage all of our listeners and family, friends to find a CrossFit gym.
Any gym.
Any gym, really.
Any gym.
Well, I say CrossFit gym, well, because Kyle's a CrossFit gym owner. No, I say CrossFit gym because there you get an array. You get a vast.
I would say if you're looking for that community feel, a CrossFit
Right.
gym is the best.
You get the community of all the people who are working. So we can go to the gym and ask mostly anyone there, because a lot of these people have been at it for a long time and have already swung this bat. They've already asked these questions and hit these shots. So the community, and you'll get the fitness, and as well as the nutrition. I assume not all gyms have nutrition coaches.
Yeah, no.
I know yours has several, but
Right.
lean into them, man. And I'm not saying the medical field doesn't have its place, and I'm not saying the medical field, doesn't have its value.
They take care of the sick.
They can't,
That's I think
Yeah, they
Dr.
take care of the
Tapper
sick.
said it the best. He's like the hospitals now are, reacting.
Sick care.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
reacting, whereas the wellness community is being proactive.
Which, unfortunately, that's like the belly of the beast, right? They are getting pummeled by
Yeah.
chronic disease, not because of the healthcare industry, but they're not helping it. They might be making it worse.
Yeah.
They might be making it worse.
Forever customers, bro.
And that might not be
right.
their intention. And I know some unbelievable doctors
course.
that are doing some unbelievable things, and they are warriors in their own field, but they're fighting a battle that they're not gonna win. They're being overpowered. They're being overran. They're
Being threatened.
pummeled. Yep.
Their medical certifications are being stripped from them, taking away their ability to practice.
That's terrible.
It's terrible. Yeah. How long do you think? So we know chiropractic has kind of been under attack
Oh yeah.
because they have the same mission, holistic, preventative. How long do you think? We experienced a little bit during COVID.
Yep.
When we had to shut down gyms, and of course, I think you might have posted something, or someone from the gym just posted something the other day that was like, "Ha, yeah, here you go. They're saying it now." How long do you think before the fitness community goes under deep attack, just like all the rest of these communities?
I mean, before you start, it's definitely already started with I'm not saying don't be comfortable in your own body and in your own skin, but the glorification of the obese body
Oh, of
and
course.
like how you should want to look like that or you should want to be like that. Now, if you're overweight and you're comfortable, awesome, great, you feel good. But that shouldn't be what we're striving for. Like they're trying to make the fitness body the what's the word I'm looking for? Like not what you want to look like.
Well, of course, everything that they tell us is the opposite of what we should actually do.
what's-
They're telling us we should be fat, and that
If you're healthy,
fat
it's
is
body
healthy.
shaming. That's
Yeah,
body
exactly.
shaming.
Like you're body shaming people who don't look like you, But I mean, as you know, it takes hours of hard work and dedication to get where you are.
Well, I think one thing that's a little off is celebrating disease. Again, one in 3 Americans right now are obese. Over 50% at minimum is overweight. Again, we talked about the deaths of over 650,000 with myocardial infarction, heart disease, heart attacks, and that is from being overweight, obese. And let's just talk. You opened up a can of worms with vaccines and COVID-19. There was some comorbidities, and the primary most common comorbidity was being overweight, obese, and that is something that's like, wait, so are we celebrating being sick on something that can be taken care of through actions, your own actions? And so taking that ownership, realizing that, but then also getting help. And that's kind of what we're trying to do too, that's one of the mission. That is the mission, of Kinesis is to utilize fitness. Okay. It's utilizing fitness to either prevent or reverse chronic disease, sickness, and inflammation, which is we're just getting pummeled with that in America. And what is happening is I truly believe that there are people in the healthcare industry trying to help this cause, but pumping them full of more pharmaceutical drugs without asking about any daily activities or suggesting or recommending any daily changes in their exercise or drinking more water or taking a walk, asking any of that stuff and just throwing prescriptions out there. That is not helping.
Instead of what you described, opposite of that, forcing gyms to close and encouraging the bad behavior. We're leaving dispensaries open. We're leaving alcohol stores open. We're leaving Burger King and McDonald's open, and we're closing churches and gyms.
Right.
Speaking of, I want to ask you, during the early stages of COVID, and I really want to tap into the next level of attack, and I know it's going to happen. I watched it with the military, from the police to the military. I promise you, the fitness industry is going to go under in the next probably 12 months is going to go under an extreme level of attack and scrutiny, I would bet. More than it already has been, but kind of back that up a little bit. What was when your gym through the height of COVID, how did that affect you? Did you guys have to shut down? Did you have to mask up? Did you have to social distance? How did that play out for you?
Well, I will say that God's timing is amazing.
Amen.
Obviously, something was going on in this country and in the world that just was complete chaos. Nobody predicted it. So that was already enough. But the fact is that 4 years ago, just over 4 years ago, we had enough success in the current business of CrossFit Kinesis that we were able to not only purchase land, but then build a building on that land. And it was a brand new building. Ventilation was fantastic. It was a large facility, so we were able to appropriately space out. So we were not forced to close, but we were one of only 2 gyms to stay open.
Really?
And we just had to sit back and assess. I remember meeting with the team and just being like, I think we just need to go day by day here and just assess what is being communicated and what is and why it's being communicated, but then also like what the communication is. And does it line up with the years and decades of education that we've built this staff around and built our own education on? And is that lining up?
Reality.
Right. And we're just like, you know what? I think we're going to go day by day on this. We are not closing. And one of the reasons I say it with so much confirmation right now is we started finding out that there was a bigger purpose to staying open than there was to staying closed.
Amen.
As soon as we were staying open and making appropriate measurements that our facility allowed us to make within the guidelines that were being made for facilities that stayed open, we started getting some amazing feedback from our current members. And it was very direct to us. And it was, thank you so much for staying open. This has given me 1 hour a day of sanity. Thank you for staying open. This is allowing me to continue to stay off the over-the-counter medications, the reason that I came here for. Thank you for staying open. This is helping our marriage with stress management. Thank you for staying open. This is the 1 hour I get out of the house and I've got 2 special ed daughters that I need just a 1 hour break from. There's no escape. Over and over and over. And we're like, you know what? Regardless of what happens, our mission has changed.
Yeah.
We have to stay open to give them a beacon of light. And also, it allows to bring out the value of what this really is. And this isn't just about heavy breathing or looking better in your clothes or having more confidence. That is part of it. But it's also about the stress management, the therapy behind it, of utilizing exercise, fitness, health, community. Oh my gosh, being able to see someone face to face and just talk. There was so much sanity that was given through that. And we had that confirmed over and over. So, that wasn't an easy road. It's easy to talk about right now, but we did get some challenges from whether it was,
of course,
other gym owners.
Oh, you probably got some hate along.
I went to, of course, you go under attack, and that's kind of where I led into this. And that attack's going to get worse because knowing what we know, at least what I think I know, is that everything good is bad to the powers that be, and the more exposure that the health and wellness communities get for being so good, the more they are going to go under attack because they are the opposite of the agenda. The big corporations that we mentioned earlier want us sick. What you're doing has an opposite outcome on what they are trying to yield. And anytime you see that, you can just anticipate that it goes under major scrutiny. They're going to start attacking wellness more than we have ever seen in our lifetime. I'm certain of it. They already did, but it's going to get worse. They're going to start making, I would assume they're going to try and regulate your industry.
They've tried. they've tried many years up to this point with specifically nutrition coaching and trying to have that be straight from the
Control the
government.
narrative.
But if you think about it, that is the most backwards recommendations currently from the from American government nutrition recommendations is how we got here in the first place.
Of course.
In regards to the 6 to 11 servings of grains, the food pyramid, the food pyramid, and get away from the butter. Go to margarine.
Right.
I can't believe it's not butter.
God, I grew up on that shit too. I'm so mad.
Me too. So we're, and the funny thing is that the fitness industry is gaining steam in reputability right now because of the comorbidities that were present and what make severe outcomes with COVID-19.
Yeah, bro, because the truth will always shine. When it's all said and done, trying to prove a negative is very difficult, if not impossible, if given the time to actually reveal itself as truth. And ultimately, some of us since the very beginning went, hold on a second. People are having mental illness. Where do you go when you're suffering? Go to church. Hold on a second. People are getting sick. Where do you go to get healthy? You go to the gym. You're closing these things. You're shutting them down. That's a mistake, and that's going to show as truth.
Right.
And a lot of people
now one thing one thing might throw a wrench. Now, for one, I love when a conspiracy theorist is proven right for many times in a row. Of course. Come on, man. Knuckles on that. Let's go. Because we're living it now.
Over and over again.
Oh, I was right again.
Yeah.
One thing that'll throw a wrench in that suggestion or that theory is that exercise is different than any other industry because it requires people to actually physically do work. It's not like they're in a debate and they can outthink themselves. If you're in a workout, you have to physically put the work in, and it's putting the coveralls on, going outside and fixing the fence type mentality. So as much as I want this to grow and grow and grow and grow, and that's when the spotlight will be put on it and they'll try to push back in. Yep. And they have been trying to gain control over nutrition coaching because, again, it's all about the base of the pyramid, the nutrition, because you cannot out-train the kitchen no matter what you do. You just can't. But that will be the challenge is when people want to look better, feel better, lose weight, be healthier, and they can still talk about it. They can write it down. They can think about it. They can post about it. They can tell people about it, but they still individually have to do the work. Yeah. And sometimes it's not fun. Sometimes it's awful. It's terrible.
I thought if you just posted on Facebook, it meant you went. That's not how it works.
Yeah. That's how it works. You just post it and
I was there.
Yeah, that's it.
According to everybody else, I was there.
Perfect.
Yeah. Man, I think I feel great. Boom, I feel great from all the hard work. So that's just the only thing that slows that's what I love about the fitness industry. And I always kind of mention this and joke about this, but there's some truth behind it to where CrossFit specifically, any fitness program is great because they say a bad deadlift is better than no deadlift. Like my grandpa,
my lower back would totally disagree with that, by the way.
Hold on. Now listen up though.
All right.
He's never been coached a day in his life, right?
Okay.
But he was picking up whether it was bales of hay or whether it was 5-gallon buckets or fence posts. And the guy, he just kept working and working and working. And he lived a very long life. It's a matter of movement is medicine to a certain extent.
I love that saying.
And movement is medicine. Fitness is freedom. But, again, I'm not supporting.
Dude, fitness is freedom.
Yes, it is.
Fitness is freedom.
But it's like if you have any movement, better than no movement, it's going to help. Your body is meant to move. Yeah. You're meant to communicate. You're meant to be in communities and environments where it's going to support that. That's mental health too. Is effortless human interaction where we can laugh, we can have a good time, we can play, we can joke, but then we can also challenge each other, push each other, work hard at times, dig in, and that's how we also gain mental strength.
Dude, another thing that you had said to me a while back, and I know we've talked about this since you said it to me, you probably remember, it was super impactful and it perfectly aligns with what with what my mentality is. Mm-hmm. as far as leadership and leading, and I just hadn't really made the correlation because I'm not perfect and I'm still growing and evolving as an adult, as a business professional, as a leader. I think that's probably forever.
Absolutely.
One of my favorite things is leadership. And I tended to not, I'm getting better. It's something I'm making a pointed effort at doing, and it's leading my family. And I was off from the gym. I had fallen off for probably a month or so. I came back. I was back for a month or so. I was expressing to you at the gym how great I felt being back. And you were like, yeah, dude. So when you are on your game, like when you're here and you're committed and your regular, scheduled workouts are here, does your family do better? Does your wife tend to do better? And I'm like, dude, so much better. Of course, when I'm committed, she's usually following suit. And you looked at me, you're like, yeah, man, me too. Lead your family. And you walked away and I was like, lead your family, you fucker. Was that a dig? What was that? But what it did was it hit me right where it counted. And now I look at it, I'm like, shit, I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to do whatever it is, not only the gym, but eating, Monster drinks.
That's mine.
Yeah, whatever. And I try and do my best. I'm not perfect, but to set the example, go to the gym, eat better, do more, because it's important that I lead my family and that we lead our communities. You do a great job of doing that. Obviously, it's kind of what your thing is. So,
Dude, I remember that. And I remember, when did you come into the gym then? Because then I was like, you know what? Meet me at the gym. That was like next week, wasn't it?
Oh, you caught me? Or are you talking about when?
So we had that conversation, and then like that next week, I was like, hey, you ready to come to the gym now? And then you're like, tomorrow. And then I texted him tomorrow, and I was like, hey, you want to come to the gym, meet me at like 1:30?
Right.
Like, yeah. So then you came up there, right?
Yep.
And then you and me worked out together.
Yep.
This dude's a beast. And then he came back again the next day, and then the next day, and then the dude started coming to group classes, and he's like, all right, I'm good. And then he just kept coming.
Yep. So I was
Dominating.
not afraid. I as I mentioned earlier, I don't really like group workouts, and I had fallen off and I had fallen out of shape. I'm like, man, I can't go back into that. So Kyle caught me we were at a charity event. He caught me like back-to-back days or something. He was like, dude, when are you coming back to the gym? And then he texted me. I'm like, dude, I can't. And then I saw him again. Yeah. He's like, just come in and work out with me. So I did. And that was the end of that story. But yeah, man,
That's awesome.
It's the same thing. It goes back to what we talked about earlier, having a mentor, some accountability, somebody to push you in a time. And we're all guilty. I was making excuses like everyone else. So I'm busy. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And when it's all said and done, being a leader to your family, being a leader to the people who are depending on you gives me at least a sense of purpose.
So you said that phrase kind of had impact on you.
Oh, for sure.
And I was reading a book. So I've worked out for the most part, most of my adult life. Nutrition is where I fall short. Sure. And I was reading a book one time, and they mentioned, and it's very simple. Once again, didn't correlate to me in my head beforehand, but delayed gratification. And I'm sure you've heard it 1,000 times, but anything good for you is good. You're going to have to wait for, right? Yeah. That's the concept of it. Like if it's bad for you, it's probably going to bring you immediate gratification. Like that Snickers bar is laying right there. Love to fucking eat that. It's going to taste very good right now.
Instant gratification, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, let's do it. But if I don't eat it, I'm going to reap the benefits later, right? And that's kind of what's helped me stay on path a little more. Like if I'm in the pantry, I got young kids, right? Million different choices that are bad for me. But is this going to help me right now? Is this going to help me reach my goals? So I think now that we're throwing out phrases that have kind of helped us, delayed gratification is what kind of resonated with me the most. Like, you can... Have you ever eaten a freaking Big Mac and felt good afterwards? Like, yeah, that was a great fucking decision. I'm glad I did that. But have you ever gone to the gym and then finished afterwards? You're like, fuck, I feel great.
Always. How's your discipline at this stage in your game as far as food? Does it go away? Have you ever had?
Do you know what a Big Mac is?
Do you have a cheat day?
All right.
The Rock preaches about cheat days.
Let's go.
Who?
The Rock.
The Rock? Yeah. All right. So for one, I enjoy feeling good.
Yeah.
Okay. I enjoy having energy. I enjoy being able to do what I want to do with the kids. I am not perfect. Okay. The only person who was ever perfect on this planet was Jesus. And so what I really do, I mean, there is times where I'll go out and I'll have pizza with my kids or ice cream, but it's about minimizing the damage.
Yeah,
right?
moderation.
And it's about taking advantage of those opportunities.
Yeah.
Like you're not going out by yourself having a pizza, you're like taking advantage of the time with your kids, and like you don't want to miss out on certain opportunities. Like
No. And again, there was a season again after every games. Yeah, this is fun. I want to talk about this. So after every games, I would look forward to that month after the games. That was my.
Didn't Ronnie Coleman used to say that too? Ronnie Coleman used to smash on freaking McDonald's and cheeseburgers after a show.
Dude, it takes so much discipline. And you got to dial in, and if you at that level of training, if you have a little bit of a slip, you might feel it, but you might get injured too, and then boom, that's the season. So you got to stay on point. But then after the CrossFit Games, it was typically done after August 1st. I would have a month where I would purposely just get off the wagon of nutrition. I would have bowls of cereal and Snickers bars and pizza, and I'd have a couple. That's where I'd drink a little bit, and then my stomach would start bothering me, and I wouldn't sleep very well, and all of a sudden I started getting headaches, and I've got this and that, but I kept leaning in, so I kept eating even worse, and because I know that's a life I don't want. And there is such an amazing life on the other side to where you eat 80%. The way that's going to support your training, it's going to support your health, it's going to support your mental health, your sleeping patterns, because sleeping is obviously, it's the number one thing in your health plan. But if I'm eating 80%, 85%, you can throw percentages in there, but most of the time, majority of the time, eating a way to support my health and fitness. And then the 15 to 20%, I'm having fun. I'm living life. I'm having a few drinks. I'm enjoying time with my kids that they want to treat. But we talk about leadership, we talk about kids, we talk about family. Okay. Well, the way that I eat eventually will be the way that they eat, and not shoving it down their throat.
Dude, that's
but
the
just
problem.
They are starting to recognize the way that they eat. They start feeling better. Oh my gosh, I don't feel very good. Or oh my gosh, my stomach's upset.
How
or I
much
feel.
junk did you have today?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, like crap.
Yeah, right. So it's just, it's living it out. It's not just talking it out, but it's also not living perfectly and enjoying life, having a donut every once in a while.
Sure.
But as soon as a health professional says that, you go have a dozen. And you're like, well, they said you could have a donut.
The Rock said,
Yeah.
Rock said I could eat donuts.
You got to stay sane. You got to have fun. If you have cravings, have it, but then get back on track. Yeah. It's okay. It's not a big deal. And that's the other thing too. Everyone's nutrition plan is going to be different. And they're like, well, I gotta dial in, and I gotta be smart about my holidays. I gotta be smart. I don't want to eat anything on Thanksgiving. I'll be okay. Well, if that's what you want to do, then you do you. And then there's another person right down the road. He'll be like, well, I'm gonna go all out. I'm gonna say goodbye to my nutrition plan just for this day, and no big deal. That's great for that person too. It's different for everyone. Mm-hmm. But the idea is that if you want to support your training and support your health, eat the way that you want to do that, right? So,
you mentioned cereal. Isn't it kind of ironic that the absolute worst thing you could probably have in the morning after sleeping is a bowl of cereal?
Isn't that nuts?
Dude, someone told me
that was a staple in my nutrition back in the 90s.
Right? Welcome to
now
college.
You're like, here's
every morning.
Here's a bowl of sugar first thing in the morning.
Dude,
you're like,
someone told me, I think it was actually Winton.
Yeah.
Someone told me that the nutrition, like the macronutrients or the nutrition facts on a bowl of cereal is like, I don't remember, strikingly similar to a bowl of ice cream.
Oh, wow.
Like
it's dessert.
It's dessert.
It's sugar. That's all
It's a bowl of sugar and milk. And we're going gluten. And we're going, oh, and I haven't fact checked that, but he assured me that every morning when our kids are eating a bowl of cereal on their way to school, we might as well hand them a bowl of ice cream.
Yeah, you might as
Here
well
you go,
hand them.
son.
It's
crumble
Twinkie.
Some Oreos
It's so
on
crazy because our grandparents, They did it right, but they were getting the industry was pointing the fingers the wrong direction.
Yeah, they were under attack.
They were eating eggs. They were eating bacon.
Yep.
They were having a great time, and they were blaming it on
Nutritious.
other things of what their cholesterol was doing. And they flipped the cholesterol all the way around, saying if it's this number, you got to take this.
Yeah, and look at our chronic disease now.
Are you gluten free? Random question.
I like to stay away from gluten as much as possible, but I'm not 100% gluten free.
Okay.
Make you
Just
feel like
random.
shit. You can tell.
Yeah,
Bogs
I
you down.
100%
whether
believe
it's
that. It's
whether it's
super
a
hard.
headache or whether it's like an upset stomach or it's messing up the night's sleep. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. What do you a couple things I want to discuss with you before we wrap. I want to discuss what we need to do as a nation. You and I are pretty much perfectly aligned in what we think is going on. So are all of us.
You sound like a smart man.
Yes, you also sound like a smart man, my friend. We're pretty much perfectly aligned with what we think is going on. What I wanted to ask you, what do you think we need to do as a country to not lose it, to not lose our freedom? It is, I mean, you know that the purpose of this whole podcast is purpose equals freedom, freedom equals purpose. What do you think we need to do as individuals and as communities to preserve our freedom in this country?
In my opinion, do exactly what we are doing, what you have done, what you are doing, what you guys are doing is just take action. We've sat on our thumbs for so long, and it's called the silent majority because they're silent. I mean, even in the Bible, it talks it in many places about how true faith is not just believing, it is acting. Faith is action. And now I'm not saying that we grab a 9mm and run down the street shooting a Glock down the street. What I am saying is stand up for what you believe and know that what you are believing is right. Because truth is an amazing thing. If we start muddling up the truth, then it starts getting very, very confusing. And that's what the enemy wants, is to confuse everybody, throw a bunch of false information out there with the right information, then twist it up. And that is what the enemy wants. So I would say, in my opinion, is speak up, take action in what you truly believe in. And I truly believe that our country, which was founded under God, indivisible, right? In liberty and justice for all. I truly believe that there's an action and there's a reaction, right?
Sure.
I think this is the beginning of the reaction. And what happens at the very end of any virus or at the end of when prey is at close to its death, they push harder than they've ever pushed before for survival. And that's what the enemy is going to do as we continue to move the stakes back to where they need to be and continue to adapt. I truly feel that there's going to be a hard push and then boom. But it takes one person at a time doing that, taking action, believing in what you believe in and founding it in truth.
Yeah.
And going from there. So
one thing I wanted to add to that is understanding, which you understand. We've had this conversation before. Hell, we touched on it today. Doing it in the face of adversity, using our freedoms. The saying is, if you don't use it, you lose it. I know that's, again, a common saying in fitness and freedom.
Yeah.
If you don't use it, you lose it. When I first heard that was in your gym, actually. I don't remember who said it, but I remember going, oh, I've said that before, but it had a whole different meaning. Like I was talking about our constitutional right. I was talking about our Second Amendment. Because I encourage people, hey, go buy a gun. Well, I'm afraid of a gun. Go buy a gun. Go to the gym. I'm afraid to go to the gym. Go to the gym, and you won't be afraid of it. And when you're afraid to go do squats in front of somebody, or you're afraid to wrestle in front of somebody, or you're afraid of a gun, I'm afraid of flying. So I have a goal to become a pilot, to overcome my fear. That's how you do it. You overcome, you lean into it. And in the case of our freedoms, we've got to use our rights or else we'll lose them the same way we will anything else. And the way to overcome the fear is to lean into it and use it and just go for it. But what the most important thing in today's day and age, and now more than, definitely my lifetime, maybe ever, you're going to have to do it in the face of adversity. It's going to be hard. It's going to be challenging. People are going to attack you. They're going to try and end your military career after 20 years of meritorious otherwise service. They're going to dog you out. They're going to put us under investigation. They're going to flag me. They're going to prevent me from retiring. They're going to prevent me from being promoted ever again. They're going to this is what you have to do when you want to stand up for it. Here, another one. It says, no, your actions are unacceptable and adversely impact the health and readiness of the force. Somebody's going to eat their words with this.
They are.
They say they trust that I will use my position to set the example as a leader. They're literally attacking my character. Now, this was written prior to all of the shit that is now very well known. So, which I told them in my counseling, which is another one of these documents, basically you're going to eat your words. The earlier state of this counseling from January 2022, imagine when they started this process a year ago for me, how vastly different the information is, which of course the conspiracy theorists, we knew it all in the front end. We knew this was flawed information and manufactured information. But what I wanted to say is prepare yourself to do what you said, only worse, to do it in the face of adversity and challenges, because the shit's going to get harder and harder and harder as leaders in our communities, as business owners, fitness coaches, wellness coaches, anyone who's going against big pharma or what big government wants us to be is going to do it under attack. So prepare to do it under attack, or we're all
batten
screwed.
down the hatches.
I mean, I think there's a turn. I think people are awakening.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Don't you think?
Well, because the truth is coming out slowly, little by little, which can be undenied. Right?
Dude, are gyms ever going to close down again? You think the people who shut down their gyms, who now have very clear information that their thoughts were right, say they do this again, and they're going to do it again.
You're going to try.
They're going to try and do it again.
There's a second push coming.
There's a second push.
There's an outbreak in China.
Oh, yeah. Well, as of now, you can't come back to the U.S. again without proof of a test or vaccination or whatever. This shit ain't over.
No.
It's not over. Do you think gyms, those gym owners who reluctantly shut down the first go round in your community, are going to stand tough? Are they going to say, nope, fine me, shut me down? Like, what's his name? Ian Smith. You follow that dude, right?
Yep.
Are they going to do that?
I don't think so.
You think they're going to hold strong?
I think it's going to be a different approach. I could see it coming from a different angle this time. But
revolution.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it comes from a different angle versus like forcing to get shut down, because the businesses that shut down and came back to life through either return of customers or clients or however they were able to survive.
They had the funds available.
A lot of them, they did close down, PPP loans, whatever that was. I think it's going to come from a different angle, because now if they close down again, the ones that are still in business are going to shut down forever, and they're going to be like, I can't do that. I don't have a choice. I got to stay open. But I think it's going to come from a different approach. But who knows? That's not for me to decide. I just know that whatever happens, we're planning on staying open. So,
is there any scenario that you can see that you would shut down your gym at the direction of the government?
If it was real. If it was a real concern that people were actually dying from being in the gym, there was not one outbreak that I could find in any CrossFit gym that caused deaths. Now, again, I'm not saying that there wasn't a death from a CrossFit gym. I was saying, where's the outbreaks? Where's the data that they said that if you stay open, they're all going to die. If you stay open, dozens, you're going to cause deaths everywhere. This is going to be a humongous issue. Where's that data? I want to see that. However, if there's something that comes out and it's like, I'm not going to predict the future, but if there is legitimately something to where it's like us being open is causing a dramatic amount of danger for not only the sick, but the well, the fit, the people showing up at the gym that were able to continue to move. If there's serious issues like that,
So, for example, climate change. We can definitely see a time where we're going to need to shut down our
He's
gyms
pulling it all out
because
today.
of climate change, right? No, I just saw an article the other day that somewhere they're locking down, which we knew. Again, the conspiracy theorist called this.
For what, though? I'm confused.
Oh, well, you can't use energy. You can't drive cars. You can't do everything for control purposes. I mean, the electric cars. Why are they making a huge push? So a couple of reasons.
Well, just to stay real, we don't need music. We don't need lights. We don't need machines. You're the machine.
That's right.
So
You
we're
don't
good to
need
go. We're in a big barn, basically. Our box, it's called a box. It's a steel concrete building.
Pretty easy.
We don't need lights. We don't need music. We don't need electricity. We don't need clocks. We can just work out and hear everybody heavy breathe and
breathing
and just
hear
have
everybody
fun.
sweating.
There will be grunts.
And that's called hard work, baby.
I love
and
it.
a lot of people don't want to do that. They don't want to work hard.
It's freeing. If you're looking for freedom, mental freedom will come. Yeah. I tell my wife all the time, and now she tells me in return when I go into these darker places, when I feel the absence of success usually feels like failure to me. That productivity is anxiety's kryptonite, or fear's kryptonite, or depression's kryptonite, and you feel that in the biggest way when you go to the gym. And you get that hard workout, you get that deep sweat, hard breathing, blood to your brain, an exchange of blood, oxygen pumping to your brain, giving you the energy you need. Also, hot and cold therapy. We've talked about that in the past. You take cold showers, you do cold plunges. What do you do? Heat. You also do heat stuff, right? Saunas and whatnot.
Yeah, there's some benefit to sauna for sure. It's incredible. There's so much research out there now, more than there was even 5 years ago. I love a good cold shower. I don't have a cold plunge yet, but I'm big on the cold showers.
Let me tell you something. I was in the mountains last week, dude, in Copper Mountain. Cold showers are different in the top of a mountain, dude. It was like icicles coming out of that shower. But the colder, the better, dude. When you get out of that, I mean, you can probably describe it as well as anybody being in your world. But when you get done with that, it's like the greatest accomplishment, and you just feel the energy. It lasts for hours. It's very similar to the high you get after like a really hard workout. Is 5-minute cold shower or a cold plunge. You come out of that thing fully energized, and when it's icicles, it's great.
Fantastic hormone production, mental relief. There's been a great
hormone production.
Yes.
What does that mean?
There has been some research that's found it helps with increased testosterone levels.
Sure.
Decreased cortisol levels. There's a fantastic book, The Wim Hof Method. He digs real deep into the benefits of cold shower, cold bath, just cold water exposure. Sauna is fantastic, depending on which one you have, but there's been findings on anti-aging, stress relieving, detoxing. Okay, if we don't have the perfect nutrition, it does detoxify, whether it's stress hormones like cortisol, or it's just detoxifying the liver, which the liver, everything liver is like a filter for the body, basically, and it does an incredible job. But detoxifying that way. It's immune function increase for cold showers and sauna.
Yeah, man. Testosterone increases, anti-inflammatory, heart disease, risk of heart disease, your skin. It's good for skincare. Yeah. But I think the most important thing is mental health, man. We're in such a scary time, and people are Americans. The middle class is diminishing. People are poorer than they have been in perhaps history. People are afraid. And I'm telling you, start small, maybe a 30-second cold shower, a 1-minute cold shower, move into a minute and a half, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, get 5 minutes in that cold shower, and just watch what it does for your mental health. Before every episode that we record, I take a cold shower because it gets my energy. Yeah. Clears my mind, gets my energy. It kind of, I think you might have said it early on. The mental benefit that you get from that, maybe a shock to the system, whatever it is. That's why I asked hormone activity. What is that?
You get a clear mind. It's very crisp.
It's crazy.
Sharp.
Crisp. Yeah.
And it's fantastic. It's electrifying too.
And it's the hardest shit you will do. So I take cold showers in the morning to get me fired up every morning. I started off when I was doing the 75 Hard, the Live Hard program. That's where I got into it. And I was like, holy shit, this is incredible.
Oh, yeah.
It's a high you get, that crisp, clean energy, thought. Your brain is clear.
And you can't think about anything else while you're doing it. It's hard.
Dude, I'm telling you, this morning, it's hard. It's so hard. This morning, I've moved to where I don't like cleaning my body in the cold shower because I don't feel like I'm getting clean. But I didn't want to go from hot to cold because it makes the cold seem so much colder. So I was kind of afraid of that transition. But now, even in the morning, I'll shower and I'll do a warm shower and then immediately crank it all the way to cold and just sit there and breathe. After like 30 seconds, I mean, if you like anything in the gym, if you can control your breath, you can control your mind. And if you can breathe through it after a minute or two, it starts to wear on you and you're going, yeah, baby, you get comfortable. And after 5 minutes, it's like, I don't know. It's game. If you don't do it, do it. Because
Game-changing.
it's game changing. Yeah. It's like going to a workout, only easier. But it is hard staring down the face of that cold
Less time.
Less time. Faster.
Yeah,
faster. That's right. It's not very much. I'd rather go to the gym than
yeah.
take a cold
Yeah.
shower for 5 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway. All right. Anything
stuff.
else you guys want to talk about? Or you want to wrap this thing? Kyle,
I
you got
think
somewhere
we
to be?
got a lot.
Yeah. I think we got a lot out of this
Good
thing.
stuff, man.
Kyle, what would you say to the listeners going into the new year as far as freeing their minds, freeing their body, freeing their soul?
All these
and ultimately
resolutioners, what's your piece of advice?
preserving their freedom with resolutions. What do we do?
Well, one, if it's not written down, it's a wish.
Ooh, write that shit down.
So you got to
Goals.
write it down. Yep. And don't just start with the first 2 months resolution thing, like whatever that would be. I would recommend setting out annual goals and hitting different buckets, whether it's a faith bucket, whether it's your family bucket, whether it's your finance bucket, whether it's your business bucket, whether your personal growth bucket. And from there, not only setting up, generally speaking, what you want to do within there, being practical about what that looks like. In the fitness industry, if you can start with a 10-minute or 20-minute walk, start with that. If you're like, I want to lose so many pounds, whatever that is, well, you got to get in motion. And if you don't know how to do it, ask for help. Ask for help. But more than anything, whatever the goal is, I would just leave it at this and just be like, we got to keep moving forward somehow. So just challenge yourself and have one BHAG for the year. Big, hairy, audacious goal.
I was going to say, what the hell's a BHAG?
Big, hairy,
audacious
Yep.
goal.
I like that.
Write it down, make it specific, and most importantly, stick to it all year.
Yep. 7 highly effective habits. So the book.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
7 habits of highly effective people or leaders.
Yes.
Yeah.
BHAGs.
Yeah. BHAGs.
Yeah.
That's right. Awesome. Dude, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Dude, it's been so
was fun.
great. Wealth of knowledge, obviously.
Hell yeah.
Totally relevant to the world we're living in today. What you're doing is nothing shy of amazing as far as helping preserve people and their mental health and physical health in a time where I think we need it most, maybe in history, certainly our lifetime. But we appreciate it. Thank you all for listening and for tuning in. Kyle, hope to have you back again soon, my man. Thank you.
Let's go.
Appreciate you.
I'll do a fist bump.
Yeah.
Fist bump.
We high-fiving?
We chest bump.
We covered them all. The handshake, the fist bump, and the high
did it all.
five.